conversation you are about to hear will change everything. Consult your medical cannabis caregiver to raise your frequency, your energy, your vibration before tuning in.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
We are awake, we are not alone.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.
Thank God it's Friday.
Happy Friday, my friend.
And a TGIF to you all. You know, I even got off work a little bit early to try to get some stuff prepared, and I still forgot music. But that's all right, because I've got it queued up. So if we need to take a little break later on in the show, I've got about 3 minutes worth of some music done up with some reggae stuffs as requested. But before we get into it, let's jump right in and say hello to everybody else. We'll start off with Mr. Zachary Zabala. I know he's not feeling well, and we missed him this morning, so we're going to get his how do you do's out of the way and let him sit back and relax and try to recuperate a little bit. Zach, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Josh. Hey, everybody. Yeah, sorry about this morning and all. I don't know what happened. I could not sleep last night, and I tried staying up all night, and that didn't work, and it dropped. We're catching the edge of that storm that's moving up through the East Coast, and it just pulled a low front like right over the top of us. And I feel like when I flew to Denver back in 2018, the whole time I was there, my head just had all this pressure in it that couldn't get out. And that's kind of what it feels like right now. I'm just and nothing, my ears is working. I've tried blowing, my nose while holding my nose closed and all that. Nothing is, yeah. So I'm doing all right. It could be a lot worse. Sun came around, so it's just bad tasting gravy today.
Well, here's to get to feeling better, because I know Kimmy's feeling a little under the weather as well and won't be joining us this evening as that BZ index or whatever it is that's going crazy out that direction, has got her arthritis sort of flaring up. So we've seen lots of healing vibes just all over that household. You know what? All over the Atlantic seaboard, really.
Yeah, they need it, man. That was a rough one.
Yeah, that's what I hear. All right, then let's move on and say hello to Mr. Walter Johnson. He's got a little channel here on YouTube called Flat Earth Head. Walter, how are you doing, sir?
Howdy, howdy. I'm fine. I'm fine. Here, I'm excited. Sorry, everybody's under the weather. I'm definitely feeling the change. The temperature has got my arm aching like beyond medicine. So I'm extra cratomed up. Ready for it. Excited about the topic, and yeah, ready to change everything. So, but yeah, definitely feel better, Zach. Feel better, Cammy. I'm trying to say hey to folks there in chat. So you hear enough of my yapping. I'm here. How are you, Josh?
My arthritis isn't too bad. Usually my big toe gets real sore right before, a few days before the rain. That main big knuckle joint right there where it connects to my toe. For some odd reason, that's what hurts. But no issues other than I've been abnormally tired. I expected to be a little sleepy today because hey, it's Friday, and I start my day off at 3 a.m. when my feet hit the floor, and then goes till usually about 11 or so. So I knew I was going to be tired. And then I was even up late a little bit last night, just trying to get something trimmed up, just so I could get at least an ounce curing in a jar, because I finally decided it was time to start. It'd been 9, almost 10 days on the dry side. So I decided to get about an ounce trimmed up, and that kept me up a little bit later. My dogs are assholes. So between that and a long day, I'm a little sleepy, but even still, I seem just a little like on my feet. Even I can't keep my eyes open. I'm just dead tired. So I'm really expecting things to pick up a little bit here once we get this show rocking and rolling. And I wish my dogs would just shut the fuck up. What the hell is going on out there? Everybody's home. My son should be at work. I guess
Who let the dogs out?
Somebody needs to.
Oh.
Craziness. Maybe somebody's here. I don't know. My dog's
GPS.
Could be. I don't know that we're expecting anything. You never know who might just pop in. But everybody, let's welcome David M. David, welcome back to the Iron Realm, to Have No Sphere. You joined us for a little bit this morning. You joined us here. It's been a few months, but you are no stranger to the Iron Realm, so it's glad to have you back. I'm really looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hopefully the mic is working pretty good. It gets kind of windy out here. If it gets too windy, let me know. If it doesn't have a good cancellation, maybe I could change a setting or something. I'm not really used to the app, but I'm kind of figuring it out pretty quickly. So hopefully it'll run
it
smoothly.
sounds really clear, really good.
Yeah.
They've really come a long way with these phones and the noise canceling and shit. So
yeah, audio drivers are a fucking thing of beauty these days. Just the
yeah,
things they can do.
I always I hate to be that guy. Like, you're watching someone stream and then one guy's like, and he's like saying some really important stuff, and you're like, wait, what? Like, I gotta rewind that, and you can't comprehend it. That's Zach.
That
Zach
you're hearing
Mike.
that you can't understand the amazing content coming out of somebody's face. Yeah, Zach always messes his own audio up with his, his charge he's got going constantly. Like I said, when he starts levitating, though, well, I wish we'd lived inside a room with Tesla coils and generators.
Yeah, I'm gonna somebody finally asked to borrow the Vandegraaff. So Austin, right after Flattoberfest, next day I'm running over there with that, the electrostatic rods. I'm gonna give him a bunch of the electrophorus, electroscope. I'm gonna just take a bunch of toys over there because I've played with them. Hundreds of hours I've played with these things, and I want someone else that wants to do it to give it to.
You said
I didn't want to just give it to somebody and have it sit there and do nothing. I want to give it to somebody that's going to play with it. Austin will be taking the reins, and
the guy there in flooded Florida, you're going to give him these.
No, Austin Whitsitt.
Oh, Austin Whitsitt. Right. Gotcha. I totally forgot the
Yeah, just down the road. Yeah.
And
other Austin because I figured
Austin and
everybody's
Austin
coming in
too.
for
Austin Square.
Flattoberfest. Wasn't sure, but I totally
I
forgot.
do see the legend himself though has arrived in chat. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Austin was definitely already seen in chat. Much love, brother.
He's probably working too. It's probably just slow right now. He'll probably listen back on the replay when he gets off of work, if I had to guess. Shout out
See,
to
not in
everybody.
Louisiana, dude. In Louisiana, and hurricanes coming, the freaking party starts. It doesn't shut down. The bars keep rolling hard, getting more alcohol flowing. You're making up your own jungle juice in the cooler instead of putting ice and food in it like you're supposed to in
I
preparation.
saw
I'm
a
like,
guy
look, Dave's ready
flying
for the storm. He's
Dude,
prepped. Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
2, 4,
a
6,
guy.
7,
It
and one
was
in his mouth.
supposedly like 140-mile-an-hour winds going by, and this guy's out there with the "fuck Joe Biden" flag and nothing but shorts and a
Nice.
big old grin on his face, making a video. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, David.
Oh, I was just say these 7 joints are gonna enlighten my 7 energy points internally as we continue this conversation.
Right.
I roll 8 for this little conversation. See how long it goes. Hopefully that's enough.
1 for each chakra and 2 to the crown.
I like it.
Oh, this one's for the lotus brain.
I might have to join you
What
here
you been up to the
momentarily.
last few months, man? I
Yeah,
saw you doing
I-
a couple. You were hitting like the circuit there for a little bit.
I was doing a bunch of stuff. I'm actually working on a couple videos for Syncretism Society. I've done a couple lives with them, but I had a few things, personal things in my life with my family and other people that I needed to tend to and consult for. I don't want to use these words. I'm trying to think of the best word. Consult to change their lifestyle around to empower themselves to let their body heal itself. Am I still
Yeah,
there?
a lot of
Oh,
it is us getting in the way of letting our body just do what it should do.
absolutely.
I mean, the whole medical industry is there to mask your symptoms so your body doesn't even know you have them anymore. You know, it
Yeah.
tricks your brain into not even knowing that there's a pain there and that it should be doing something about it. Yeah, they've totally taken the whole idea of medicine and reversed it 180, in my opinion.
Oh, totally. And but I think like we're in this information age where they can't stop the information. Like it's just coming out at such rapid paces these days that it's almost hard to keep up with. I mean, I don't know about you guys. There's a million subjects that I want to look into, but with all the things that I have going on and all the content that I'm making right now and projects that I'm working on and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, there's no time to tune into everybody and to hear it all and absorb it all. But we also have at the same time where we have this information age that's happening, that we have this misinformation age at the same exact time, like coexisting together, and you got to like pick and choose what's good and what's not, and it's a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's all that they could do, though, because the internet's out now. I mean, if they could put it back in the box, it's like Pandora's box. They opened it, you know, they let the world know about the internet and they let us have it to where people are, you could even say, addicted to the internet.
Oh, absolutely.
They couldn't turn it off. You know, there would be chaos, there'd be riots, people would be freaking out.
Oh, absolutely.
But so, yeah, what they do is misinformation. That's the only angle they have to play anymore because you can't put it back in the box and you can't silence everybody from speaking the truth. So we're just going to mix it and jumble it so nobody knows what the truth is.
Yeah, I think we've been having that happen for a long time. Like they even divided the languages. They made some of our languages read forward to backwards and backwards to forward, and then they changed a couple enunciations. And uh, is a whole different language, but it's really just a backwards language of another language, and then
Yeah, the
that was
whole
like the
backwards, man, that's part of the whole. We were talking about secret society families earlier a little bit before the show, and yeah, they're taught that to read and write backwards. A lot of these elite families, it's part of like their. It's crazy when you think about it. But yeah, they're taught to read and write backwards and speak backwards.
some people may know or may not know that I worked in advertising, and I was an expert in Medici learning, uh, occult art, Gnosticism, Kabbalism, all that type of stuff. So I'm aware of everything that it does, and what's going on, and it's just more and more apparent every day. All these things that I think we were talking about earlier. I think we were talking about the devices, right? Getting better and cheaper, and
Oh yeah, and
like
the
HD televisions are like
right,
$300 for
absolutely.
a 60-inch television now, and now they got the colors so dialed in.
Why the fuck did the government get involved in what my TV definition is? You know what I mean? What the fuck?
Pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Wait, and the frame rate of these things now, they can show us 10 pictures in a row that our consciousness can't even register.
Well, the lighting effects, they bypass the cognitive functions of the brain, and as these lighting effects get better and better, like even on your cell phone, it's really crazy what they can do at this point. And they're definitely attacking you straight to a conscious level, to your subconscious. I'm sorry, subconscious level, and it's wild.
Oh yeah, I mean they've been doing this on like television forever as well. I
Mm.
remember there was a video of an old Cubs game from like back in the late '80s, I think it was, early '90s, and it showed all these esoteric occult symbols right on the screen. It took up the
you
whole
mean this,
screen.
Zach? I keep it on my damn desktop, so that's usually where it's at. Hang on. Oh wait, now of course I've taken it off. Are you kidding me? Never mind. I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah, it was almost like someone forgot to hit the "this needs to be hidden" in the picture, and they just flashed it right on top of the screen. It was so weird.
I was listening to someone talk earlier today about nicotine and how I mean we know that nicotine was weaponized and it was used to heal the lungs and many other uh, purposes, but this guy was talking about nicotine, that the reason that they have been so against it is because the smoke of the nicotine actually affects the brain, so it cannot get uh, so you could not get put under their spell for their modern day MK Ultra type program, whatever they're running currently, or in conjunction with, you know.
Oh yeah, and I mean it would make sense that they would have something out there. I mean, even if you're aware of it, they say this stuff can still get you, you know?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
they can't walk around with blinders on
Hey, turn on that
everywhere.
fan. I was about to get up and turn it off on me. Oh, I'm sorry.
So yeah, for sure they're going to have something that you can find at every gas station, every convenience store, every somewhere that they can go and grab one of these, you know, to kind of stop that from affecting them. That's why I think so much of the cheap food, like the not the brand name stuff, but the stuff that's exactly the same, but it's like the store has that brand of every type of thing in there.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
That's the stuff that all the rich people eat.
Yeah,
It's the same. It's the cheapest stuff. They're not going to make something. Yep,
expensive. Yeah.
that's it right there, Walt. That's
Yeah, I
what they
know.
showed.
This
No,
is the
you're
best
right about that.
object. I mean, the
You're right
copy
about
of
that,
it I
Zach.
can get.
Even most like I don't want to use the cure word, but like home cures that people do, home remedies or whatever, I guess is the right term. you could buy that stuff for 99 cents. It could be baking soda. It could be,
Right.
whatever.
Borax.
And it's super cheap. Yeah, what's borax? Like a big box for $5, maybe
$3 or $4.
$4.
Well, it used to
Yeah.
be 3 or 4. Now it's probably 5.
No, it's
Yeah.
about, it's probably, well, maybe California is a little different inflation, But my point is it's really inexpensive, and then everyone goes and spends millions of dollars like to get these cures, or they want to give you these treatments that cost $200,000 a year. You may or may not survive. You have a 15% chance, or something like ridiculous odds. Get you by the balls. They get you desperate, and you've been conditioned to for all this stuff to happen to you your whole life from early ages.
Well, yeah, and their treatment is a regimen of poison that is most likely going to kill you. I mean, how many people live through chemo compared to those who die?
Oh, the numbers are ridiculously low. I don't know.
Ridiculous. That's not a cure. That's murdering people. And it costs so much because they don't want you to have money to leave to your family and your loved ones. They want to squeeze every nickel out of you they can while you're still alive.
Well, it's okay. In this show, we're going to talk about monarch programming, but the good news is it can be reversed, and all these things that you have done to yourself unwillingly or unknowingly, you could also reverse those things too through your diet. And don't take any of the subjects as is really grim. I just want to just bring some things to light and then talk about what you could do about it. Just gonna look over my notes while Zach talks again.
Well, yeah. I mean, G.I. Joe, I think, says it best. That was one of those adages I learned at a very young age. Knowing is half the battle. If you don't know that something's out there trying to hurt you, then what do you're lost. You don't even know it's there trying to hurt you. So talking about these grim subjects and topics, I mean, we're not talking in fear. We're not telling everybody, go run out and...
Yeah, don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared. Just be aware. I mean, knowledge is power. If you know that this is out there, you're aware, and then you can defend yourself when needed. Mentally, physically, as in health-wise. It is. It is a scary world out there. It really is. All the stuff that goes on, but you can really fight it off without ever having to even see that world, for the most part. It's all about, like David was saying, eating healthy.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, all what they call disease is related to your diet, and if you change your diet, you definitely can reverse all those symptoms. Very, very important that people know that. A lot of people feel like they're in these dire situations, and that's not going to make a difference. But there's so many cases of people that I know personally that just changed their diet and reversed stuff that they had for 25 years, and they were taking insulin and all types of horrible stuff that was killing them, and reverse it all. I mean, it's definitely possible, but a lot of people don't want to address what the underlying causes of all the stuff. And a lot of days now, like a lot of information is coming out, so we'll hear that the underlying cause of all this disease is inflammation, and that is partially true, but there's a more deeper root cause of what's causing all these things, and that's parasites. And I think that's one thing that the medical establishment avoids, and they've known about this for a really long time. Even the veterinarian doctors, they've known about this since like the 1890s. They knew that all the animals were infected, all the livestock were infected. They knew how this stuff spread. They knew all this stuff a long time ago, and have been keeping it a secret so they could.
And they knew how to destroy it. They figured out how to destroy it.
Well, to say they knew it was there a long time, David, I think is quite an understatement, man. You sent me a link for some writings that had been removed from the fucking Bible about this very topic.
Yeah.
And I found that quite interesting. That of
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
things, you know, I could understand some advanced esoteric stuff that might get people, you know, a little more advanced than they would like. I get that, but this is just strictly health related. And then actually, we know it's actually spiritual related too, and we'll get to that. But yeah,
Absolutely. We'll
man,
get to that. Yeah.
I'm trying to open that link and now I'm not getting it. So give me a minute. I thought I had it bookmarked. What was it? Do you remember the title of it offhand, man? The a scene something? Damn it.
Oh, you're talking about the Seeing Gospel of Peace.
That's it. That's it. I'll get it
Yeah,
now. I'll get it.
yeah. It's available online. It's a book that they
Yeah,
printed
yeah, I've
for a
got
long
it. I just
time.
can't find the bookmark. I'm not putting the right keyword in, but when
It's
you
it's a
tell me
book
that,
that
I've
they
got it coming up.
printed. It's a book they printed for a long time, and it's always been for sale for like $1, like donation of $1 or whatever. I actually have the book, and it's funny how like you have these synchronicities, like when you find out certain things in your life, or you tune into something and you just start seeing it everywhere around you. And I just saw that book, and right off the bat he's talking about exorcism of parasites, and how to get rid of all your pains and aches, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a very, very interesting book, very nice, very nicely written. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. Well, I would be pretty sure that the original language it was written in is Arabic, but it's been translated to many languages besides English. I'm not sure how close, but I did read maybe two different books by two different authors that translated those books, um, that were pretty similar.
I found a link, but I don't think this is the link you sent me because I remember the one you sent me was like it was almost a you know, photocopy from a book. It looked like it was hard to read in places and things like that. This looks like it's been just typed into the internet, which you know,
Yeah,
it's
well,
fine, I guess.
basically, what's going down in that book
I'll find
is
it. I'll find it. I know
basically
it
what's
too.
going down in that book is Jesus is the character, and Jesus is not Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus is the character in this book, and he's in a scene, and he lives in the forest with the Essenes. He's given up all his worldly possessions to live in the forest, and some people that are maimed and crippled and going through all types of pain and misery, they seek Jesus out, and they go out to the forest, and they beg him to help them heal themselves from the afflictions. And he basically teaches them how to cast the demons out. It's a very interesting short book. It's a 4-part book, but you could get the one book, all the parts together, and some of it may seem really familiar to you. Maybe that's the source of newer stories or whatever, or I'm not really sure, but um, the main thing that stuck out to me is the whole book is a book about exorcism and removing parasites. And in this book, Satan is a parasite, and they call him by name. Like, this is Satan. When Jesus removes the parasite from the guy that was suffering the most, and they all saw it and they were shocked. And then he like smashes his head, and then he goes on to explain some more details. I mean, you could look into it yourself. It's definitely worth looking into. But very interesting topic.
Well,
But
right there in the heading of this one I found, it mentions getting a copy for $1. So this must be
yeah,
the one. I'll drop it in the chat for everybody.
yeah. Whoever makes it, like they just sell it for $1. I'm pretty sure. So like to cover the printing costs or whatever. I don't really know. Beautiful
So
book
what do you
though.
think about like part of your diet? I think part of everyone's daily diet should be 10 minutes in nature. They
I think
there's
that's a bare minimum.
yeah, bare minimum is
Yeah,
but
bare minimum.
I think
I think
we
the
were
bare minimum should be at least 45, right? It takes that much time to get sun, vitamin D going.
Well, I mean, like for me, for example, like I wake up really early in the morning. Sometimes I catch you guys' show. I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when the veil's the thinnest, between like 4 and 5
Oh
o'clock in
yeah,
the
that's
morning.
my prime time, buddy. That's when I'm usually the
So
most creative or the most attacked. One of the two.
yeah, so that's usually when I get up, and then I go and I exercise, and I watch the sunrise from real early. It stimulates the pineal gland. Very important part of my day. But uh, I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, saying that, I want to ask.
Spending more time in nature. Spending more time in nature is very important because that's what heals us. And even going back to that book, the way that you're healing yourself of these parasites that are invading you, these alien invaders that are invading your body and causing all these problems and stuff that's going on with you, is going back to nature and doing enemas with natural water and breathing the air of the plants and being with trees and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have you ever seen? I saw. I'm trying to find the link now. I've got so much crap in my history for videos. It's almost impossible for me to go back and find anything
It's
that's not guitar
impossible.
related. But it was a gentleman who was discussing some Tibetan practices with energy fields and activating the third eye, and it was discussing literally using acupressure, pressure to activate it, like a tapping and then a pressure. And I don't remember the exact time. I think it was like 20 taps like this, essentially, right? 20 taps, and then you press for about a certain number of seconds, maybe 15 or 20 seconds. And then during that, you're holding, images
Are
of
you
things
rhythmic
and
tapping?
clearing. And I'm sorry.
Are you rhythmic tapping?
And I'm sure the rhythm affects it. Absolutely, just like rhythmic breathing affects.
Absolutely.
You can like summon shit using rhythmic breathing. I can attest to that. So, but yeah,
Most
definitely.
people aren't breathing. Like right now, like
Oh
you're
no,
taking breaths, but that's
a
not breathing.
fifth of a breathing is
You
what
need
most
to.
people are doing. Oh, dude.
I recommend 3 times a day. Like, I mean, part of what I do in the morning is when I wake up early is one of the first things that I do is breathe. Try to go outside. Try to be with the plants if I can, if the like weather permits it or whatever. Sometimes I don't even care about the weather. It doesn't really matter to me. But just getting out away from all your electronic devices, your Wi-Fi's, your neighbor's Wi-Fi's. I mean, that's so key. So I have to like literally like leave where I live at and like go further away to accomplish that every morning. But
a lot of people get hung up on deep breaths as well, and that's fine. But it's also that deep exhalation, not just the inhalation, but that cleansing of emptying the lungs as fully as you fucking can. Getting them empty, and
when
then
you're
filling
breathing,
them with clean energy and bringing in sparkling energy through your crown. And oh yeah, there's a whole process that I
Well,
use while I'm doing this.
Your senses will even get sharper when you do this. You
Well,
will
when
see
you're
colors that are just vivid and bright all of a sudden after you get done taking, like Navy SEALs before when they're getting ready to get off the chopper and go into combat zones. That's one of the things they do. They take 10 very large inhale and exhales in a row.
through the nose,
And then through your nose. Yeah, and when you come out of that,
out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, no mouth.
no mouth at all. Yeah, but you're like super focused. You can see every movement. You could see everything. It's like your senses are so much heightened after you've given your body
I'm
all the oxygen it needs.
gonna give you guys some advanced knowledge on that same technique. When you're doing that, you should have the tongue on the roof of your mouth. You're completing the circuit, and it's very important while you're breathing that you're also sitting up straight, so the breath could ascend and descend properly and circulate properly through the body and oxygenate the body everywhere. It definitely will help power your day. Best way to wake up. You don't need coffee. You don't need any of that stuff. You want to breathe from the plants because the plants have DMT, terpenes, and all types of stuff. And those terpenes and all stuff are healing for us. And I think people are so isolated from plants these days, living in cities and living in these places, these houses that just have fake grasses and these modified plants that they get from the depot or wherever, that they're not getting that healing anymore, and people don't take the time out to go to the mountains like they used to for a couple of weeks and reset your natural the rhythm of your body, as well as like I said, if you get around pine trees, we're related to the pine trees DNA wise, and pine trees are so medicinal for us, and they're so important for you to go and spend time just with the pine trees, just with the trees at all. You become so energized and so healed, and you can come back to whatever, and you realize how garbage how garbage everything is. Uh, how we're really not meant to live like this, and how everything we do is backwards because we are living in the inverse world.
So I wanted to call back real quick. I had to step away. My wife got me a early little birthday dinner tonight
Nice.
since my son's at work. It's a little bit cheaper to have to buy two rather than three. But have you ever heard of like the pineal pop? Years ago, whilst surfing the lovely YouTube videos, getting into the frequency and vibrations and getting into the pineal gland and trying to access it a little bit more, I read across the subject about people having this little pop that happens inside their head. And they said that there were several different musical videos that claimed to produce this pineal pop. And there was actually one, I'll be damned if I can remember who or what or where or when, but I'd actually experienced it. And it was similar to like being a kid and pretending to pop your nose. You know, you'd grab the bridge of your nose, but you'd hook your thumbnail on your teeth.
I used to freak out my nephew and niece with that all the time.
So that was the best way I could describe what it felt like because it was all internal. It was literally a pop that happened inside my brain. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it says if you listen to this, you'll feel it, you'll hear it, you'll experience this pineal pop. Whether it was a pineal pop or what, I don't know what the fuck it was, but they said this would happen and it did, and it was a really fucking weird experience. I don't know.
I mean,
Don't
it's a
ever.
it's a frequency. Light and pictures are a frequency. Also, all of it's frequency. It was a frequency attack on you. In my opinion, maybe someone would interpret it different, but I mean,
Don't know. Kind of
when
remember
you have an
Hacksaw.
awakening, you'll quack like a duck.
Quack like a duck. Josh, don't I remember Hacksaw talking about that in relation to the distilled water consumption and something also about
Well,
that
maybe,
idea of
well,
lying
maybe they're
down into the field of the magnetics rather than standing up? Like when you lay in your bed at night, you're accessing the magnetic field a different way. And that's when he would always say about getting the pop. Or is that not Hacksaw? That's somebody else. But it was early in Twitter. I think it was Hacksaw, man. I'm pretty sure.
I don't.
Sorry, guys.
I
It
don't,
just
I don't
triggered a
know
bunch
those
of
people.
memories for me.
Nice.
See,
No, I'm not familiar.
Nothing is coming up now either. Too.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna find out from Hacksaw because I remember the discussion about the pop, and I remember him like going 8 with it. Like you had excited him again because he knew about it, and yeah, it's been too long ago, man. That's what 6, 8 years ago.
Big shout out to Logan Cook. Many thanks. Happy birthday. Much love. Appreciate it. And then there was one other thing that I wanted to get back, sort of more back onto topic. I remember a conversation a few years ago that you and Jonathan from Jersey were having. It was probably one of our first early conversations, and you were talking about the Wim Hof breathing. And I think it was
I was talking about it.
No, I think it was Walt
Oh
and
yeah.
Jonathan from Jersey.
Well, yeah, because the breath thing
Oh,
is
okay.
really integral to me. Like I said, I've been both attacked. I've been summoned. I mean, the breath is tricky. You be careful with the breath.
That's
Well,
exactly what I wanted to ask you about, because that was just an offhand comment that Jonathan had made. Was, well, be careful when you're dealing with that Wim Hof breathing.
Yeah,
and that was kind of the extent of it. And no, go ahead. I'd love to get into it a little bit as to the dangers.
Because you could it could be dangerous to you. It's that type of breathing is creating adrenaline. So like too much adrenaline is probably not as good for the system as people think it is. So if you're constantly doing that, I mean, you're stressing the system out. So I mean, that's the only thing that I could see. It depends on you as a person. Everyone's different.
And that's probably a huge key to it, David.
I mean,
Indeed.
I could tell you, like, from a personal standpoint, I'm an
Yeah.
adrenaline junkie, so I need that. You know what I mean? Like, I have to have that. I have to go
Yeah,
through those
like you
things. You know
said,
what I
it
mean?
does a
Well,
lot of wear and tear on your body. After that adrenaline rush is over, I mean, you
Yeah.
feel it. You're just like, especially once you start getting older, you know, you do that adrenaline rush and you actually use it and actually put forth that, you know, running or whatever, lifting or whatever. When you're done and that all goes away, it hurts. You're like, whoa, man, I like
I
way overdid it.
I think rhythmic breathing is a little more important than that. And I also think just being alone, being in the dark, being outside in nature in the dark with no one around, with no cell phone, no flashlight, none of that, just you without your shoes, without, you know what I mean? Like just next to a tree, on a tree, read. Again, I don't know. I mean, I have trees that are friends. I mean, it may sound weird, but I go and visit trees that I know, trees that
absolutely, friend.
I
I've
had
got
like
friends right
pla-
across the street,
places I used to go walk at
right
with
in
the
my yard.
dog,
Hell.
you know.
Well, since you brought it up, I mean, I really feel like we need to go to it because it touches a few areas, including this parasitic one to me. Um, there's a whole realm of rhythmic breathing. Now, I think you're talking about just breathing deeply and in a perfect rhythm, but the changing of your breathing rhythm, extending
Yeah.
inhales,
Or
extending
or
exhales,
or
doing
breathing
different amounts of
opposite of how you
inhales
do
versus
now.
exhales, doing rhythmic inhales, rhythmic exhales. There's a whole school of doing that. It's kind of tied to that Wim thing, but it's a little more ancient than the Wim Hof. And it's like I'm getting chills. It's where you have to be careful because if you don't have the protective things at hand that you can instantly throw up when attacks happen, then you can get yourself in a situation. And it can be so innocent that, well, I say innocent. I know now from what we know about the music industry that there's no way this was an innocent thing. But the worst attack I ever had was listening to the Enigma album, the song that has the monks chanting off the album. I can't remember the name. It's got the Roman numerals date. That's the
In
album.
what key? In what key? Do you know?
I don't remember. But in the album, when you put it on headphones, there's this voice that's kind of low and under things, and it tells you to get into the rhythm of the music, breathe to the rhythm of the music. And so I start doing this because during that time, I'm doing sweat lodges, I'm out doing fire dances, I'm doing a path of the warrior. So I think I'm ready for this. I'll start doing this rhythmic breathing in time to this song.
And you put yourself in a
And there's
trance.
this dark energy starts coalescing out in the living room area, which at first I thought was this is so crazy. I worked at night, so I had daytime tinfoil on my windows to sleep during the day, and occasionally the cats would scratch holes in it. And so I was thinking what I'm seeing in the living room is the garbage truck is coming at night, and the yellow light flashing on the back of it is shining through those holes, creating what I'm seeing because there's little literal dark things swirling in the living room in there through the bedroom door. And they're getting thicker and they're moving towards me. And suddenly a dark shape comes from the floor up to my bedside next to me. It just literally ascends from the floor, stands up right like you see in the fucking movies. And there it is next to my bed. And I instantly go, okay. And I stop the breathing I'm doing and I change my stance to the warrior stance and I put my green shield up and I turn over and I hug my wife and wrap her in it and I go to sleep to keep this thing from because I know I can do better fighting in my sleep than I can in my physical form. So yeah, be careful with the fucking rhythmic breathing. It is
Well,
dangerous.
I mean, but there's a lot. There's a lot. See, the thing is most people's bodies are not functioning properly. So there's all these different energies around you, and you could, it's like spiritual beings and guides and whatever. Sometimes these things are attempting to communicate with you to help you and guide you. Sometimes they're attempting to trick you, but you have to communicate with them to figure it out. You don't really want to shut them all out,
Oh no, this was not good. Oh, I'm well versed
No,
in
I know,
hearing the
like you
universe
could
and
feel it
coming
though.
to me at night. This was
No,
not
no,
a
but I'm
good
just,
thing.
I'm
Yeah, yeah,
just,
yeah.
I'm just mentioning that because
But
I think
yeah, there's
a
definitely,
lot
and
of people don't
that's why I
understand.
said this is the worst attack, because conversely, working my own paths and my own breath work and things I did consciously without just admitting to this fucking record, I did, have some very great encounters, and yeah, I've talked about all
But
that. This
you
is
know,
you, man. We're
also,
not talking about me. Shit.
like, no, I'm just saying, like, we're also, like I was saying, like, when you're doing that breathing, you're inhaling all types of DMT, so it can have effects on you, and if subliminally they're
Oh,
attacking you
right,
in a certain way, it could, you're already open and susceptible to it. There's a lot of things
right.
that people do that puts them in these theta states that
Well,
allow
this
them,
band is known for a very psychedelic type
all
of
music,
music.
all bands are.
Well, no, the Enigma, that's their wheelhouse. They were the
No,
ones
no,
that
I was
had
gonna
that
say something else
song
though.
with the Indian chant in it, "Return to Innocence." That's the same band, and that's pretty much the album that got most people that knew them into them. But prior to that, when I was still in college, they had come out with this other album. Like I said, it's MXCC, whatever date, and it had these monks chanting. And at the time, I was in a college choir, and we were doing that. We learned the parts. Me and three other guys, we learned 4-part harmony and did that in the stairwell behind the choir
What was the
practice. And
language
it
you
was
learned it in?
it was Latin. Yeah, we did a
Oh, Latin.
lot of songs in Latin. Our choir teacher was adamant that we would do the original, like Bach, Brahms, whatever, in Latin, like they wrote it. All this. So yeah, we did a lot of Latin. And
Let me.
so I knew somewhat what I was told I was saying, but I never learned Latin. So, but yeah, it was definitely a deep
Well,
spiritual thing, I thought, until that night, that it kind of helped me summon up a bunch of
Latin is
darkness.
Latin is like a priest class language, and it's actually um, that exact opposite of Arabic. Arabic is written the other way, whatever. But yeah, it's the exact opposite of Arabic, which is really interesting. They say it's a dead language, but they obviously use it
Excuse me.
to
Well,
write
years ago, I
these.
definitely would have advised anybody to look into that band Enigma and say that they were a good path of good music that wasn't tainted with bad stuff until that experience with it, and then I pretty much put their records aside and never went back really. Every now and again, it'll come up on the radio and I'll listen to it. The whatever it is, Return to Innocence, and there, like I said, there was a whole lot of esoteric imagery, symbols, sigils, all kind of shit tied into their album artwork.
I mean,
Uh,
words
Lots
become
of other
sigils.
languages that, like Arabic and stuff, that were mixed in. That who knows what they was feeding us at that.
Words become sigils, Walt, and
Exactly, and I'm
and
sure
your
what we were
brain
doing
reads
with
them.
those
So your
those
subconscious
phrases.
sees that, and so it's very important. And what tone people are playing in is very important. Most music is weaponized. I don't listen to a lot of music. There's stuff that I feel like maybe I've just heard just because the basic programming is repetition or whatever. I just heard so many times that I'm like, oh, I think I like this, but I'm to the point where I enjoy silence more than anything.
Well, I could tell right away when I started playing guitar that what everybody was telling me to tune to wasn't right. Everybody was tuning to 440, the musical standard scale of
Right,
tuning.
especially when you tune that G string, you feel that just not. It's
Well,
It's
those
not right.
disharmony. It's like, what is this?
those are for all your different chakras centers as well too. So that's where it affects you. It affects you on that deep internal level, and a lot of people don't understand that. And it also opens you up to be susceptible to whatever else they're putting in there subliminally.
Well, yeah, I've noticed when I like naturally tuned to 432. Because that's where it sounded
Which
right
is
on my
nine.
guitar.
Which is
Huh?
nine. Which is nine.
Yeah. And my buddy would always grab my guitar and tune it up. And I noticed my guitar would always go out of tune when he would tune it to that higher frequency. But at 432, I would barely, maybe the bottom E I'd have to mess with every once in a while, something like that. But usually at 432, my guitar liked it there. This the string stayed there, like they didn't want to leave. Where at 440, it was always going out of tune.
That's interesting.
Not
I'd like to ask. Alex that if he's noticed anything with his instruments staying in tune longer at 432.
Yeah, a real musician. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it wasn't something I noticed like right away. That was like years of playing when it finally dawned on me, like, hey, for some reason I always tune down. And then I learned about 432, and it just kind of clicked in my head, and the light bulb went off. I was like, well, that makes sense. Yeah, it just sounds better at that than when you hold the chord, it vibrates at that chord longer at 432, it seems, than at 440. 440, it flattens out a lot quicker, where at 432, it just like, at least my guitar, I hit it and it's just like, boom, forever. It'll just keep going.
James Grinded Extraction chat is agreeing with you, saying that, like you said, Zach, the instrument's happier. It stays in tune. It's warmer. Imagine it's got that richer tone. It probably holds those vibrations and carries them a lot longer.
Maybe that's why everybody wanted to trade me guitars, because I was tuned down to 432, and that's what it's supposed to sound like. Because I had people offer me expensive guitars for my guitar. It's like, no. But what if it was something that simple? Just having it tuned down instead of at the 440 like everybody always did.
What a marketing gimmick for a fucking Guitar Center. Tune
Yeah.
all your shit to 432. It's like, oh, it just sounds so much better when I play it in here. I just gotta buy it and take it home.
I want to get back to the scene book and the tapeworm that he's talking about, that they call Satan in this book. That's the name that they call him in this book, not what I call him, or I'm not going to define what Satan or any of that is, whatever you think about that. And I want to get in a little more detail about just tapeworms in general, like how you get infected with a tapeworm and how everybody is infected with tapeworms. If you eat fish or meat, definitely tapeworms, especially fish. You could get it from human contact. You could get it from your pet's fleas. You could get it multiple ways. And at this point, at this day and age, we have these sewer systems that basically you're supposed to be recycled and bleached and whatever. And you shower in that every day. You get in a hot shower. You turn on the hot water, open up all the pores in your body, and you allow all that waste and parasites to come douse you, and people think they're cleaning themselves up. And then once you to be taken over and be infected, you have to have certain conditions in your body, like heavy candida or weak immune system or a weak system in general, somewhere where they could come and feed off of you. Generally, where the infection you get from the tapeworm is in the small intestine and intestine. And this is the type of parasite that he removes in that book, which I found extremely interesting, because I knew a lot of different information about this tapeworm. And then I read that book. I had it on my desk maybe for like a year, and I didn't even look at it. And I just opened it one day. I think the first few lines, they started talking about it, and I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy. That tapeworm taps into all your senses, pretty much takes over everything, and the infection just gets worse and worse until I think people are in these zombie states and whatever else, or until they get eaten to death, because everyone is being eaten alive slowly right now as we speak. Some people don't realize it, because the Ma's tricks, the parasites tricks, is this illusion that we see around us. And I think that we're in the internal world, the inverse world. We're within, and this is how bad it is. And the world, this is how bad it is inside. And this is how these basic things people forgot, but these basic things are killing people by the dozens and you're being traded like cattle by these people that are heavily infected by parasites. And I don't know what else I could say about that. I don't want to go too much into that subject, but I want to talk about. Go ahead.
Damn. So, you are what you eat. And there's this big push right now with this whole fake meat, vegetarian meat, fake burgers, all this whole thing. So, I've seen a few different things, and I know everybody's like, whatever. But it looks to me like there's a huge. Basically, there's things out there that seem to imply there's fucking human meat in this shit that's been done, and repeatedly human fucking meat is showing up in burgers, in veggie burgers, in these bait, et cetera. And I mean, okay, so you
I
have these
just say
people who not only are treating us like cattle, but literally using us like fucking cattle.
these people never waste anything. Nuclear waste, they sell it. They make it toothpaste and whatever else.
Right.
Like they don't.
And then you look forward to some of this Agenda 2030 shit, at the insect eating and just all this shit. And so there's this whole big, huge component of controlling and fucking with what we eat. And what you were talking about with those, I'm kind of scattered because there's so much going on with this. So the idea of, like I said, them using us as cattle, and then us eating the cattle, and then this whole
Well, yeah, you are what you eat. So you are what you eat. So you're the cow. You're the cattle, right?
That's what I'm trying to get to, man. I mean, and then so then there's this whole idea of now they've added this to the mix of this whole bunch of people who have just like a bunch of fucking mind controlled sheep stepped in line, rolled up their arm, and said, "Oh yeah, sure, use me as a guinea pig." And so that's going on. And in the midst of all that, I'm seeing these videos that are on Twitter, which I had gotten off Twitter a long time ago, just because of things very much like this. But I've seen about 15 of them now. And there are these people that are in like stores or at gas pumps or whatever, and they're doing whatever they're doing. They're in the middle of living their life, and suddenly they start like looking up to their left, like something is after them, like they're being attacked from the sky by something.
They even start
on the ground.
They swat away.
Swatting at shit. Yeah.
I've seen this.
You've seen this. Okay. So I'm just like trying to tie a lot of things together here. We've been attacked. Most of us have been attacked in one form or the other. I just told a very description of one of my very vivid attacks, but that's just like tip of the iceberg.
Have you seen a tapeworm before? Have you seen what it looks like?
Yeah, they're fucking like.
It's like an antenna. If you really look at it, it's like an antenna.
Oh, the end part, the tip of it, yeah, absolutely.
The whole thing,
the
the bottom, like the body of it. It's like an antenna. You know what I mean? Like a. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
What you're saying, like those. I mean, they have antennas that are folded into your cell phone. There's the folding of an antenna. They used to do it in fucking.
But you have to think like
you can see it in your glass of your car. Now they figured out a way to hide it a lot better. But yeah.
Well, what if they could affect you from frequency, or affect
hell yeah.
them from frequency, which then affects you in turn, whatever. I mean, that's just hypothetical.
Right. This is all hypothetical, but I mean, like I said, that preponderance of evidence and things just keep happening, and it's like, okay.
Well, I mean, I think everything's related. I think everyone's right, and everyone's talking some truth.
Everybody's got a piece of the puzzle. We just
you could say like, you say like Mudflood University. Oh, he's wrong. This guy's talking about Titans. He's wrong. This guy's talking about Mudflood. He's wrong. But the truth is
we'll pick it.
Everyone has
an opinion about it.
Right. Some part of what they're saying is true, is based on truth, and I don't think that everyone's deliberately trying to deceive everyone. I just think everyone's tuned into these different frequencies, but they can't figure out how to put it all together. But when I sit back and look at it, I just start thinking like, well, if Stellium, what's this guy's name? Stellium 7,
Mike.
Yeah, and these guys are right, and there's the giant dragon, And then there's the
Right.
fish. Well, what's the dragon? It's a fucking parasite. I mean, simple as that. And I don't think people are thinking of it on that. So, what is that body in this tomb that we're in, wherever we're located at? And if there is these bodies from time before or whenever,
Right.
uh,
Giants on the earth in those days. There it is.
I mean, I think it's all hidden in plain sight. But I think everyone's right. The giant trees are correct. Every aspect from all these people, all of them are right. Even the people that are trying to deceive us,
Right. But
they
no
still have
one
to base
person
their
is right.
lives.
That's where it starts
They
getting
have to base
nuts.
their
Is when
lives
everybody
on like
starts standing up and
80%
saying,
truth.
"This is it. I've got it all figured out with this one thing." It's never one thing. I mean, are you one idea inside your head? Is anything you've created been one concept? I don't know how
Well,
to explain what I'm saying,
it
but
is
it's
a war.
so multi-leveled and layered. Go ahead.
It is a war for your brain, and it is the war of the heavens, and that is your brain. And I think a lot of people don't see that. And a lot of these things, the parasite is trying to get to your brain center and take control of your body. So, what happens after that? Do you become a zombie? Is that zombie apocalypse when everyone's infected and they take over their control
My
centers?
table
What's
tells
next?
me what to do. My
Well, didn't they
table
say
tells me what.
Stalin's brain was half like there's a big chunk of it eaten away by syphilis?
Well, syphilis is a parasite, right?
Yeah, that's that's like a
Yeah, well,
horrible lifetime parasite.
it's an infection, and that's what it is. All these things are infections. That's why I was saying earlier, like, how can you get these tapeworms? Humans can pass them to each other. Sexually transmitted diseases are now sexually transmitted infections, and people have these infections and they don't treat them right. Instead, they eat a lot of sugar. They eat a lot of food that contains a lot of sugar. They eat a lot of boxed food from the supermarket instead of eating healthy and eating right. They're trained to go for convenience or eat these dollar burgers, and like, who knows what's in those things. It costs $1. It's every piece of junk they could possibly find out the trash and put it into one patty that they spray paint or whatever they do. You know what I mean? I'm not really gonna get into all that, but at the end of the day, like, you get what you pay for, I guess. You know what I'm saying? People are always saying like, "Oh, it's so hard to be like eat raw and eat right." And I'm just like, not at all. Like, I could eat right anywhere. I could go all around the world and find fruit everywhere. But then they
Well,
had
there's
to
enough wild food on the ground to feed us all. The clover
absolutely.
and dandelion and sorrels, and there's so much wild food out there. That's not even mentioning all the different trees that provide all kinds of nuts and berries and
Right.
fruits. Yeah, there's so
Well, you
much.
could eat I said we're directly related to pine trees, so you could eat the pollen of the pine trees. That's very important, and that is also anti-parasitical. If we're directly related to the trees, then sometimes you need the medicine of the tree to heal our tree.
And here where I'm at in South Louisiana, there is not a big amount of pine trees. They're not. It's more oaks and live oaks and things like that. And so I grew up in central Mississippi with my uncle having like acreage that we would do like pulpwood. And dude, I spent so much time sticking up with pine tar and living in pine pollen. And I can remember just that sensation, like when we would down a tree and that pollen would just hit the air like a cloud. You could see it kind of hovering for a second after the tree would fall away almost. It was crazy. And you would feel that pollen just
We're
descend
di-
on you.
we're
It was
directly
almost,
we're directly related to these trees. We have this symbiotic connection. Like, our lungs are shaped like the tree top, and we're breathing in and out together.
Maybe that's
All is
why
all is pulse and wave.
my favorite. I hit a
oh,
lot of
wow.
national
Oops, sorry.
forests on walkabout, and my favorite
Right.
one was the Angelina National Forest in Texas. It's a
Fine.
huge pine tree
Yeah.
forest. I mean, pine's so big you can't get your arms around. And, 110,
Yes.
120 feet tall, just huge pines. And I fell in love with that place. I really did.
I
That
actually
was,
grew up near a national forest. I just thought about that near Raleigh, Mississippi. I'll have to go see what the name of it is. Look, I was sharing a song in chat just because we're talking about tapeworms. So I shared Needles with the lyrics. System of a Down. If you're not familiar, the song literally talks about tapeworm telling you where to go and what to do and what to do about
It,
it.
it
And so as I'm putting that in there, I'm thinking, yeah, these guys are so nuts. They've been all over the place. And my brain went to their first song that I remembered them for, Sugar.
Yeah.
Sure, they were telling us right there,
Well,
sugar, fucking
what feeds
tapeworm,
what
sugar,
feeds the
fucking
what feeds the
tapeworm.
cancer? What feeds the
Right.
cancer?
I'm gonna share that song. Hang on. These guys are nuts.
Are you gonna play it right now?
I mean, I could.
Oh, I just want to
John,
make one. I just want to make
Colin,
one comment real quick. Yeah, I
I
just want to
wasn't
say
gonna
it.
play it. I was just sharing it in chat because anytime we play
Oh,
music, we sometimes have literally been like not only stopped mid show, have had the show
well,
struck worldwide, etc. We don't want to risk that.
once you tune into this, and once you realize that you more like that you more than likely this is affecting you as well, and I would say 99% of you are having this problem. If you're having any aches, pains, or whatever, if this is the cause of it, I mean, you definitely have some type of infection, and I think it's real common these days. What I was gonna say about that, when you become aware of that in pop culture or television, like if you, I was watching. Do you remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I do. It's Sarah Jessica
Movie or show?
Gellar.
Yeah,
The TV show.
Yeah,
yeah.
I missed the show. It was in an era
Well,
when I was completely
if you
unplugged from
if
it.
you go back and watch that one or Angel or any of those shows, you realize they're fighting these parasites, and they are the vampires are the parasites as well too. They're the ones that are the humans that are infected with the parasite infection, but they're actual a lot of the demons in Buffy, like they are parasites. And I'm just like, the truth is hidden in plain sight. They put it everywhere. They put it in the songs, they put it in pop culture, music, art, whatever. It's everywhere. Like once you tune into it, you just start seeing it everywhere, and you're like, whoa, I don't even want to see this anymore, but you can't avoid it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I watched that. Me and my little brother watched that all the time. That was one of his favorite shows when he was about 9 years old.
It's not just, I mean, I could name all types of shows and movies and stuff with this subject. I mean, there's book covers, comic book covers, all types of stuff. Marvel had a character called the Tapeworm. I mean, they put it in our front of our like in front of our face everywhere. Like they didn't hide it at all, not even a little bit.
No,
But
and they,
we're so focused on like entertainment,
yeah,
the brainwashing aspect of our minds or whatever, that we can't see that stuff. We can't tune into that frequency, and the diet is so poor. Uh, we were talking about this earlier. I think we were off the air, but we were talking about sugar, and we were talking about that being the link to Alzheimer, dementia, or whatever, and it starts at an early age when you start inhaling all types of sugar. This affects you later on in life, and the main cause is sugar. So really, sugar is the worst drug there is, and sugar feeds the cancer, and sugar definitely feeds the parasite. And I think you will find out those two terms that I just said are probably the same thing, but the medical people wouldn't want to admit that to you. But definitely, everyone's heavily infected. Definitely, it affects everything. It affects people's moods. The animals are infected. I had pets that were infected multiple times. I mean, you're supposed to deworm your dog every 6 months, and this is the reason why, because those worms will travel to the heart and take over the heart and kill the dog or kill the cat. And they get these worms, like I said, from the fleas or contact with other cats or other cat feces or dog feces or whatever.
mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes, yeah,
Yeah,
all the above. And if you have this weak immune system and you've been abusing your body with sugar, which more than likely you have, if you're not aware of it and you have not looked into it, you start reading the ingredients on those boxes, you'll realize there's just insane amounts of sugar of everything in the supermarket. Everything, they try to put it in everything somehow.
yeah. I've noticed this dog I have now has never been to the vet, never gotten any type of immunization shots or any of that garbage, and I've never seen a worm in his poop. I've never. There's been none of that stuff. He is so healthy. He's like 8 years old now. at least. And people ask if he's like 2 or 3 years old. I mean, he's got gray around his face, but he hides it well because he's white and brown and black, and it kind of mixes in pretty good. But yeah, this is the first dog I've ever had where I didn't take him to get all those shots. And it seems like his immune system is so much stronger than any other dog I've ever had.
Yeah, I don't want to get too personal about my life, whatever, but I took a dog to get those series of shots because I needed to leave a dog in a pet hotel, and that's their requirements. And the dog went blind after that, and I'm sure it was because of that. And it's just such a horrible thing that you could do to your pets. I mean, please don't do that. Please don't look into these things before you do that. There's a lot of natural things that you could do to help your pets heal. Very
Or there are
simple
a lot
things.
of good vets out there that actually know what's going on, especially the
Yeah,
old
find
time
a good
vets.
vet.
Find a good vet. They won't even ask you about any of that stuff. As long as you don't bring it up, they won't bring it up. You know, they're supposed to, it's required by law that they have to make sure that if they see your dog, it has to be updated with its this vaccine and that vaccine and this vaccine. But
Well,
there's
that's
still
part
some
of it.
really good doctors
Well, that's
that,
part of the conditioning they have on people. Like a lot of people don't realize how they've been conditioned their whole life, and this is how they did it. Like you got a vaccine, 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 this, that, and that, over and over and over and over again. So people just got to the point where they think it's normal and they just accept it. It's
mm-hmm.
They don't even think about it. Their brain trusts those people, so they just accept whatever they say and just do whatever they tell them to do. And their bodies aren't working properly. The blood's probably not flowing right. Everything's probably clogged up. Their arteries are probably getting clogged, and it's all diet related. And you could reverse all of those things. But one of the first things you need to do is cleanse the body of the parasite because that's really what's causing everything. And uh, there's multiple different types of parasites in your body. Like besides just the tapeworm, there's like a fluke worm that's in your liver. There's the hookworm, the pinworm, all types of stuff. At one point, my dog was feeling sick. We went somewhere to visit, and she interacted with some other dogs and got fed something by somebody, and then through had like real disgusting diarrhea after that, like really awful smell, and then later on had hookworm, and it was just from that interaction. And I learned a lot of lessons from that, and I'm really grateful that I got an opportunity to learn those lessons and be around such a good teacher. The dog is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But like fighting parasites is nothing new to me. I've been fighting parasites in the garden for 20 plus years, and it's the same stuff. It's the same thing. It's the same type of things that you got to do, same type of battles you got to have to get rid of these things. And I learned a lot about parasite reproduction and different parasites. And there's crazy parasites. I was telling Walt, there's a parasite that infects the mice that makes the mice want to be friendly with cats, and then the cats eat them, and then the cats get infected, and it's like this perpetual cycle happens. The phoenix keeps rising.
I've seen some pretty nasty things. I think I talked about it one or two times here or on the Ironworx a few years ago because we were still living back in O'Fallon. Uh, there was a cockroach that was downstairs in the basement. It's not that big of a deal. We lived in the suburbs, so we were unfamiliar to cockroaches and, or yeah, cockroaches. That's a fight. It's a cricket. It was a cricket that was downstairs in the basement, and we weren't unfamiliar with crickets because we A, lived in the suburbs, and B, had a reptile in the house that was eating crickets. So but maybe one got away, but it was all
Right.
black. So it was like one of these nasty wild crickets. And they say you can't feed these wild crickets to the reptiles because it's got,
Really?
yeah, they say they carry parasites.
Oh,
So I
wow.
stepped on this fucking cricket, and this it wasn't a big cricket, but there was maybe 5 inches of this white worm just
Yeah.
came wiggling up
It
out of this cricket as soon as I killed it.
it attaches to his brain,
It was the
takes over.
nastiest. Yeah, it was
So I
messed
mean,
up.
like we see it in nature, we see it in animals. Dogs
Well,
get
dude,
they
there's
get
some.
rabid. Why would a dog get rabid? And I think there's an underlying condition that's causing that dog to get rabid and crave different types of eating and whatever else. I think a lot of people eat these diets that there's not what you naturally would eat, but it's what the worm would want to eat, the parasite would want to eat. Who else would want to eat a dead, rotting flesh of another being besides the parasite? I mean, a lot of people uh, will try to convince me otherwise, but at the end of the day, I mean, I don't believe that everyone's getting this factory. I mean, this uh, fresh farm, this, that, or whatever. When everything's factory farm these days, and all those animals are infected, even if they're not from the factory. They bought them from someone where the cow was infected in the first place. So the cow was still infected when you got it, even if it was grass fed or whatever fed. Um, at the end of the day, all that meat turns into mucus, and when mucus takes over your body, it creates the conditions that parasites like to live in. Sugar does the same thing. All sugar turns into mucus, and then you get these. Think about, you eat like a crazy candy for Halloween, then you have Turkey Day, and then you have the other holiday, and
Christmas,
just sugar,
right?
sugar, 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 sugar,
Right.
sugar, sugar, sugar,
Absolutely.
sugar, and then everyone gets sick, and then they go, "Oh, why are you
It's
sick?
flu
It's
season.
sugar poisoning, sugar poisoning." Like it created all that mucus in your body, and your body wants to expel it, and your body is desperate to expel it, so it goes through that flu or whatever they want to call it medically to expel all the excess mucus. And if you go to any hospital, what's going on there? Everyone's excreting mucus, right?
Yep.
Well, I know you've seen and talked about probably before the bugs that get like they're literally a dead, insect that is being driven by fungus, not a tapeworm, but by
Yeah.
fungus. Well, hell, I could show a video, I guess. Hang on, because there's one that just blew
Well,
me away. Hold on, here
so
we go.
basically that. Okay, let's see.
This is a little uncomfortable for people who might be sensitive. So if you're sensitive,
Well,
please
I
turn
think
away.
you should get familiar, be aware.
Trigger
Knowing's half the
warning.
battle, like Zach said.
Don't be sensitive to this because it's pretty incredible what you're about to see. That's being driven by fungus, people. Not only is the animal dead, but most of its body is gone.
Well, I
But
think
the
the point.
fungus is using its brain to drive its fucking legs.
I think that the point here is though that is your mind center can be taken over, and we've seen this in nature multiple times. And this is an example. It could be taken over by a parasite, a fungus, or multiple different things. Everyone wants to take over the vessel. That's why we're having this war in the heavens, and it's literally it's for your brain, and they're attacking you. They're attacking your brain and all five of your senses at every level. We all know this. Every I don't want to say conspiracy. Every confederacy out there exposes these truths to us all the time, and some of them are a little extreme, but most of them are spot on. And like I said, everyone has all these truths, and like they're creating these conditions for them to live in, not for us to live in. Like they've changed everything about how we live. They took us out of nature and put us in these concrete jungles where we have no more connection.
Yeah, the speaking about like a parasite being able to take over your brain, the military has been working with this type of idea because of all their it's not for your average soldier, but there's certain soldiers out there that they give these like special suits to, that where they can run further without exerting so much energy and things like that, but they really don't want the enemy to ever get this stuff. So they designed some kind of, it's like a serum that is injected. You're already hooked up to an IV, And if it registers like you get shot and are wounded and like incapacitated, this serum injects into your body. It goes and clots up that blood part, but then it also like tells your body to walk back to the base. With you being unconscious, your body turns around and goes back to the base like a
Does it?
zombie.
Well, but there is.
Yeah, I've seen the studies too, Zach. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead,
no,
David.
I agree with the study too, but I want to point out one thing too. But there is people that wake up and have some sleep condition where they just jump in their car or just drive to work and
Right,
don't even know, and then wake up and
right,
go, "What am I doing here at 2 a.m. in my pajamas?" You know?
right. And why am I standing at the refrigerator eating a pound of butter?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. In chat, David, the question keeps popping up.
Oh, sorry, I don't have the chat
No, I know. That's
open,
why I'm
guys. I'm
throwing it at
sorry.
you, man. People have asked a couple of times about, okay, so we get this idea of these parasites. How do we get rid of them? And I know you keep talking about diet, and that's so easy to say, dude. And we've been so addicted throughout our lives, literally since
Well,
babyhood.
you're addicted to
Not
sugar
just childhood.
and
Right. Since
salts.
babyhood, mom gives you the juice in the bottle. I mean, you're addicted
It's
from
it's
birth.
it's
So
even
how
more
do you do
sinister
it,
than
dude?
that.
What it is, but that's what I'm saying. So what's the key? What would you say would be steps, baby steps somebody could take? Now I see some major steps being offered in chat, and we're going to talk about some of those major steps in a minute. But before we get to the extreme end of it, let's just talk about some baby steps that people can take just to try to get themselves to a point where at least the sugar isn't raging inside them so much that the
I
parasites
mean,
won't let them change their diet. Because, dude, sometimes it's a literal fight for your soul
well,
that you can't win to change your diet. I mean,
when you're feeling bad though, when you're having like a lot of people, what happens is they go into these detoxes and they've never detoxed before, and they start having die-off symptoms from the parasites that are dying off inside them, and they think it's them, and they feel like crap, and they just feel better if they just go back to their usual habits and
right.
just
There's nothing like a healing crisis to make you go back to bad habits. Yes, sir.
right. Right, and it also keeps you in a lower vibration, and everything around you is to keep you in these lower vibrational states. So you don't want to self improve, or you don't want to heal, or you don't believe that you could heal, and that's nonsense. I would say majority of the people can heal from these type of things. I'm not going to talk about physical injuries or whatever else. I'm just going to say just dietary dis-ease and whatever else. Just we're going to keep it like that. It's definitely possible. I've seen it with people, like I've said, like on the deathbed and turned around and lived multiple years longer. But it takes a strong discipline, and I think a lot of people lack that these days, and
Oh, yeah.
it's hard to just change overnight. But like where I would start at is I would start with fasting. Fasting is super important. Fasting will help you with the war in heavens. When you empty the body of all the sugars and all the stuff that you ingest like on a daily basis or whatever, when you get to the stage where you've got rid of all that out of your body, what happens is your body's then hungry, so the liver starts making this substance that feeds the brain, and then your brain just starts pinging and going and whatever, and there's
And
more
it
to it than
wants
that, but
that shit. Right.
I'm just gonna say that that's one of the effects that fasting has for the body. But you also you're supposed to rest every 7 days, so you're supposed to give your internal digestive system a break. Like people are dying because they spend all their energy digesting, and then they're clogged up, their body's not circulating properly, everyone's imbalanced. Everybody, that's why we're here, everyone's here imbalanced. We are I mean, this is debatable, but whether we're on a flat plane, a flat Earth, or a flat inertia plane, or a flat disk, or whatever, it doesn't matter. We're in this place, and I think a lot of people are out of balance, and it's all because of the way you ate your whole life. So you definitely have to retrain yourself. But once it does get better, like once you start fasting and you cut the sugar out, eventually you get your taste buds back. And when you go get that fruit that you probably wouldn't enjoy before, it tastes delicious. It tastes like a candy. And you're like, wow, I can't believe I've been missing out on this good food this whole time. I never knew that this tasted that good, because your senses have been, your taste buds, everything, all your senses have been attacked, and none of it's normal anymore. So you have to reverse it all. And where do you start? I mean, you get rid of the sugar. That's the first and foremost. Stop eating sugar. Stop eating breads that turn into sugars. Learn what foods turn into sugars, like bad sugars. I don't mean good sugars, bad sugars. The body does need sugars, but I'm talking about bad sugars. The body needs fruit. You need
Yeah,
to
don't listen to these idiots that say, "Oh, this fruit has so much sugar in it.
That's
It's like
nonsense.
drinking
That means as a
cola."
gold mine of sugar that your body needs, the type of sugar your body
Exactly.
needs.
Yeah, it's not been processed and had all the good stuff taken, all the receptors.
But there is
And
some
don't go to the
Grafted.
supermarket down the juice aisle and pick up cartons of juice and think you're
well
getting
there,
ahead of the game. That's worse than fucking sodas half the time, the amounts of sugar in those things. If you
oh
want
yeah,
fruit juice, get a juicer
make it
and drink
yourself.
pure
Make it
fruit
yourself.
juice. Right.
Yeah, and like what most people's problem too is they're dehydrated. Like I see it all the time. Like in like 99% of people I see, I'm like, this guy's real dehydrated. Like, wow, it's incredible how dehydrated this guy is.
Right. When you were
Um,
talking about how you start your day with going outside in the sun, part of my huge start is I have a bottle of water waiting. I know sometimes bottled water's not great. Best I can do where I'm at, but it's waiting for me to wake up, crack that seal, and down the whole
well,
bottle to get
I
everything
would like to
moving.
talk about that. I think that's really important. I
Yeah.
think that
Sweetie.
yeah, I think that, like, I don't think I know this to be a fact. Your body's made up of 80, 75, 80, 85, who knows what percent of water. This flat plane is 85% water. We're identical. It's identical. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Um,
right. Absolutely.
and it's very important what water you put into your body, because a lot of this water,
It's
it has
so hard to get
all
good
types of
water
poison.
anymore.
You got to
Absolutely.
make it. You got to get a water distiller. And when you start distilling your water, I've drank distilled water for 15 years now, exclusively. And then I do drink some store bought, uh, like kombuchas or something that has probiotics in it here and there. But I'm really picky in particular. I'm really like a,
Yeah, I do my best. In my limited little town I'm in. Well, there's been some amazing things in chat. I'm gonna throw a few at you here.
yeah, let's hear him. Let's hear him.
Well, number one, thanks again, Tommy. I saw that cat super chat way back, and then the birthday super chat. I think Josh mentioned it. If he
Right.
didn't, I'm sure he appreciates it. Okay. Mark E. Rizzo said a little earlier, humans are the only thing in this realm that don't know what they're supposed to eat. Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Well,
Uh, go ahead.
no, go on.
No, you comment on that. That's just one of
No,
many. Go right ahead.
I was gonna say, we know what we're supposed to eat. We're supposed to eat what comes out the ground, and nobody wants to eat that anymore. Everyone's into eating processed food or packaged food or stuff that comes
Right.
perfect looking. You know what I mean?
Right. Dude,
So
the
I mean,
whole yeah, it's sad.
there's no confusion here. Like, if you think that we're supposed to kill another animal and take its life force and eat that animal to sustain ourselves, that's parasitical behavior. Though that whole concept is what a parasite does. And I can't, like, once you're free of these parasites, you start seeing these patterns and these behaviors. And once I broke free from these, now I could see these patterns and behaviors in everyone. And it's really hard for me to just be like, hey, I could see that you have a heavy parasite infection problem. I don't want to scare anyone, but generally that's generally what the problem is with everybody. And people come to me and they search me out and they look for me and they ask their friends if their friends tell them about me, and it all comes back to the same thing. It's a fucking parasite problem. It's a parasite problem. It's your diet. It's a parasite problem. You have to exercise. Exercise is a part of this as well too. But you could start slowly. Like, if you don't have to like rush out and just start running a marathon, and I wouldn't even recommend running in the first place, but you could do slow movements like qigong. You could look into that. That's very interesting
Right. Or Tai
to
Chi. That's what I did right
to
after
to
my wreck.
recenter your energy, because part of your problem is your imbalance is your energy as well, or all these other things that's happening to you, the parasite infections and all the infections, those are imbalances as well too. So you need to rechannel all that energy, and get rid of a lot of that negative energy, and just transmute it and learn how to take that energy and transmute it. That's very important. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I do know, but I'm trying to think of like some basic steps that are not advanced stuff. That how to do it. I mean, you have to want to do it. You have to want to heal. You have to want to ascend. You cannot ascend if you eat these highly acidic, mucus forming foods. It's not possible. Your body's not running properly, then the body can't start the process. And so to get the process started, you have to do these cleanses. You have to detox. You don't have a choice. If you want to live longer, this is what you got to do. If you know, you think that you're not going to have problems in the future, if you're not doing anything about it now, then good luck. I wish the best for all of you out there. I don't want to speak anything into existence for you, but this is definitely what's going on and the turmoil that's going on in the world. And if we could solve this, and if we could get everyone to heal, then this place would change. We would evolve, or we would go on to the next level. And I think some of us will, and some of us won't, because they just can't see these simple things, and they won't do the work.
And it's hard. It is hard sometimes, for sure. Another comment there in chat that I really was surprised when I found this out. Well, here's why. Hang on, let me get a sip. Chris Creek saying take graviola capsules to get rid of parasites. Health food stores about
Well,
$30. I did a search, didn't know what it was. Turns out it's soursop fruit,
yeah,
which
soursop.
I
Yeah,
know historically as a cancer cure
like I
known by
said,
the
but
medical industry
I
since the
don't. That's
70s.
that c
Hidden.
word. That c
Yeah.
word. That c word eats sugar. Parasites eat sugar. They're one and the same. I mean, I
Right,
don't know.
right.
I don't know
Absolutely.
how else to say it.
Shout out. Our good buddy Alan Holman has a book. I'll drop that link in a moment. But yeah, definitely I'm not a doctor, nor does anyone here play one on TV.
Yeah. No, I
But
don't know
we are
anything about
just
that.
experiential things. Yeah, definitely go look into some soursop. I actually tried one time a taste of it in a smoothie, and it
Well,
wasn't
and where
pleasant.
does that come from? A tree? That comes from a tree,
It's
right?
from let me see, in the Americas and the Caribbean. It is a broadleaf flowering evergreen tree. The fruit from it
But
is
like I said, that
rough textured white
the
meat. Go
tree
ahead.
is giving us the medicines to heal us, and like
Yes, from the earth, from
people
the
want to
fucking earth.
know how to heal, and there's all types of different ways you could heal, and there's all different types of parasites, and there's all different types of parasites that you can fight. um I mean, if you take the proper steps and you do certain things and you do like colon cleanses, you could see what's coming out of you, what's been inside of you for a long time, and you could like study that stuff and figure out like what kind of infections you have just based on colors and simple things like that, to see what type of parasite you do need to fight. But everyone has the tapeworm infection. I think at this point everyone's born with it. Anyone that's on this realm is infected, and I think that when you're no longer infected, you will no longer be on this realm.
Right. That's
Based on what
interesting.
is my
Get it
question? I was
all
wondering. You
done
said
and
that
get on
earlier. Mentioned that
down the road.
you're not going to ascend if you don't
Okay.
cleanse yourself
All
of
right.
these
So this is
parasites.
one I've heard of. Josh and I looked into it
Sour
years
soap's
back.
delicious, by the way. I love that stuff. It's hard to find in the
It's
supermarket,
hard to
though.
find in the States. And like I
Yeah,
said, when I tried a smoothie with it in it, apparently it
I
didn't
retract
blend
more
well with the
sour soap.
other fruits. What I found out later is you should drink it kind of in its own
Solo,
smoothie.
yeah,
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 don't blend it
yeah.
with the other fruits. It does something like happens with the pHs and all this. I see Sherry Bondage Squirrel Eyes in chat talking about champagne and soursop being quite tasty. So I'll give it another shot. I will. So okay, so this one, Dave, is one, like I said, Josh and I looked into it a few years ago when we were both felt really inundated with parasitic internally things, trying diatomaceous earth, mud water, I think Josh calls it. And then we read about, and I haven't tried it yet. I don't think Josh ever jumped on it either, but it was very intriguing because of what we've learned about plants and refining them and alchemy and things. Before I say this, everybody out there in the world, no, this is strictly something I read. I can't give you any experiential details on it, but people in the chat apparently have done it. Be careful with what you hear here. Don't try anything you hear here. Stay safe. Now, turpentine and sugar
Hmm.
to get rid of parasites. Do you know
I,
about
I
this?
I know about it. Yeah, I've done everything that you probably would looked into. I've
You've
done
tried
and
it? Okay,
used.
well,
Yeah,
tell
I've
us what
done and
goes
tried
on,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. I mean, I'd really like to know the safety,
It's
the
it's re-
safe
it's
way
real.
to proceed. And
It's a real basic one, but you have to have a clean diet during this process. A lot of people don't realize that. And one of the most important things is you have to be having multiple bowel movements. So if you're not getting enough fiber, proper fiber in your diet, and I'm not saying bread from the fucking supermarket, I'm talking about fiber, which you can get from plants, from leafy greens and all types of other stuff. Do your research. You have to be having these regular bowel movements, because what happens with parasites is when you attack them and they're irritated, they might just leave from where they are in one part of your body and burrow through your body to get to another part of your body and take up refuge somewhere else. A lot of times parasites migrate over time. They get into people's lungs, they spread all over. So it's very important that you're having like these regular bowel movements when you use the gum spirit. Um,
when you say regular, you know, most
I'm
people
talking
assume that just means
two
like, yeah,
doobies a
I
day,
pooped today. No, dude,
twice a
you're
day.
supposed to be going. Well, see, what I've learned biologically during my years as a biology student, you basically should be like you were as a baby. You get some food in you within an hour,
Well, but
and preferably
they change your
less, you're
eating
shitting that
cycles
out.
though.
Right.
They
Well, if
change
they
it.
fucked you all up, right.
Well,
So if
because
your system is working at least that frequently, like within a couple of hours after a meal, if you're not depositing something, then you need to start stepping up things. That's just
well,
basic to
your body does
me.
the most your body does the most cleansing between like 5 in the morning to 11 in the morning. So when you eat breakfast, you break the fast. So you're fasting that whole time. You're not supposed to eat. There was never 3 meals. They just included that other meal to make more money from these super chains or whatever you want to call them. So I mean that's really key there. A lot of people don't understand the internal biology and the internal clock, the internal whatever you want to call it. Like we have the sky clock and we
All
have
right,
the
right, right.
astrology in it. That's the same as in our body, and we have those same energy centers, which are our chakras, which align with these what people want to call the planets or whatever the flying the I don't know what they call them, the wandering stars.
Right, right,
Same
right.
exact thing. And same thing's going on inside of your body, and it's very important for you to know your body. The reason I know so much about parasites is my astrology sun sign is Virgo, and Virgo is the ruler of the small intestine, and this is where the parasites live. So this is how I have intimate knowledge of parasites and where I've got most of my information from, not from books or anything else. And like I said, trees are the medicine, and all the tree stuff is good, but turpentine could be real hard on you, and you're supposed to take it like a couple days on, a couple days off. I think it's like 3 days on, 4 days off, 3 days on, 4 days off, 3 days on, something like that. I'm not sure what the schedule is, but I did notice after a while that uh, it was giving my liver some kind of effect, and I don't know if it's because of it was affecting liver flukes, and I haven't done a liver cleanse at this point yet, so I was having like some type of pain, and I remember stopped using it because of that. But this is like after months and months and months and months of use, actually probably years of use, and I probably took it regularly, did the maintenance doses on it, whatever. But
Hmm.
it, good stuff.
Well, I know
But we're
when
talking
you
about
said that
the
about,
pine. We're talking about the one from the Georgia pine trees, not the turpentine from the store.
yeah, we're not talking about paint thinner, right? Sorry, I'm having problems with the cat in my lap here. So I know when you said that, it also reminded me of some very specific things that that it can be needed, and usually is. Hang on, baby, get down. Sorry, cats. Anyway, so you said that about doing a liver cleanse. Most people are like, oh, I did a cleanse. I ran down to the big box store, grabbed some tablets, and I did a cleanse, right? Yeah, no, it's a little more complicated than that, and it can be very devastating. Your body goes through a lot when you do a true cleanse of each
Well,
organ, each system,
you're
because you're
releasing all these
re-releasing all those
emotions
toxins, right? And as they
and
pass
and,
through
and toxins and
as they
yeah.
pass through the intestines to come through and get out of you, your intestines is where all the absorption takes place of nutrients and anything you're taking. And so you're going to get effects, and you'll feel bad, and you'll be like, oh, I don't want it to go through this. It's horrible. It is. It can be really rough on your system. It can be really rough on your exit. It can be really rough all the way around. Do your research, be very careful, and do as much of it as you can in a slow way.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to get rid of this shit. Yeah, you want it out of you, but the shit didn't build up overnight. So don't try to get rid of it overnight.
yeah,
It took
and
years.
don't jump into turpentine if your body's not
Right.
working
Don't jump into
properly.
any of this. Take slow
Do
steps,
some
even a
fasting.
fast. Yeah, even a
Do some
fast, take
fasting
it easy.
first.
Take it slow. Take it,
Yeah,
yeah,
one day at a time. One day at a
absolutely.
time, literally. Like
Absolutely.
that's how I had to do it. Like, can I make it 24 hours? And I remember being like, this is the
Right.
worst 24
Right.
hours ever, And like now when I fast, I get so much energy. When you're not digesting all the time, you have so much more energy. And like I cycle energy through my body in multiple different ways. And and then I exercise and all kinds of other stuff like that. And I'm at my peak performance when I do not eat food. And it takes time though. Like I went from I remember my first 3-day fast, and the 3-day fast completely resets your immune system. So that's a very important one. But it has to be a true 3-day fast, meaning like you didn't eat heavy, and then all of a sudden you said, I'm starting fasting from this moment on. You have to slowly like eat lighter and lighter and work your way into one of these fasts. Eat a plant based like salad only, or just something really light and let the body get rid of all that stuff to be in the true fast where your body gets the break. Otherwise, it's still going to be digesting while you're fasting, and you're going to feel sluggish, and you're not going to enjoy it.
And it could be quite an amazing experience as well. Quite spiritual, quite enlightening.
Very, very important for spirituality.
One of my favorite stories, music, is Steve Vai before he recorded one of his greatest guitar pieces, For the Love of God, fasted for 7 days, just drank some juice, and really got touch with things before he recorded that. In fact, actually, I think he bled. His fingertips bled a bit. So quite amazing.
Fasting is a private thing. You shouldn't tell anyone that you're fasting. You could talk about it after, but you
Yeah, this
shouldn't
was
tell
way
people.
after the
No,
fact,
I'm
of
just
course.
putting this out there. They're just for everyone that is interested in this. Don't ever talk about it while you're doing it.
That's interesting, man. That's cool. I like that idea. I like that personalizing it and keeping
Why
it
you're
from
gonna
being
tell
like,
you're gonna tell
well,
the
it's just
enemy
like
that
everybody going to church dressing up like, "Ooh, look at me, I'm holy." Are you?
are you
Are
gonna
you?
tell the enemy your plans?
Right. Right.
They live inside you, so it's not like they don't hear what you say. You know what I mean? So people tend to forget that. You have to realize that like these parasites have tapped into you, like your cravings. They make you crave all those bad foods. Once you stop eating sugar, you'll. I eat sugar is disgusting to me. If I taste something that has sugar in it, I would spit it out immediately. It tastes gross. It tastes like crack cocaine or something like that. It's a processed chemical. I want nothing to do with that, and you definitely don't want anything to do with that. It's definitely the cause of majority of your problems, and it's also feeding these parasites.
And I'm just trying to play catch up in the chats. I've been so neglectful
Yeah, sorry,
of, and
I
I'm not. I mean,
don't
I'm
have the
so in the
chat in front of me.
conversation, and I've not been in there nearly as much. So Chris Creek is apparently doing lots of good stuff, saying install a reverse osmosis water cleaner on your tap. I guess in addition to the fit distiller, I definitely think
Yeah,
distillation
yeah,
is the way to go as
that's
well.
very important because a lot of water that like you go to the supermarket and they sell distilled water, but generally if you look at it says on there like source like municipal
Yeah, somebody's water
whatever,
supply.
and so
Anytime
that
it
means that
says
there's
water, yeah, and even
it's
sometimes you'll see, oh, blah 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 creek.
well that means
They've
it's
literally
fluoridated.
named their municipal pipes a creek. That's what they've done. I've looked into it. It's not a fucking creek. You
Yeah,
know,
it's not a creek. It's a pipe. Yeah, but that's the problem is it's still fluoridated, and the distilling process doesn't remove the fluoride, and that's one of the things that's calcifying the pineal gland. Maybe that pop you hear is the decalcification cracking. I don't know.
You know, I was thinking about that earlier. We didn't get to it, but when we were talking about some of the like the distilled water, is definitely a good help to
That will help. That will
decalcify
help decalcify you,
that.
decalcify your whole body.
Olive leaf supplements actually help. Garlic actually helps with some of that
Well, I mean,
decalcification.
garlic. Listen, garlic fights the vampires, does it not? So who are the
Yeah,
vampires?
absolutely.
And I think people don't realize they're showing you this reflection of what's going on internally, and people don't realize it. And it's you know like, it's in our face. I mean, I think the signs are there. If you're seeing the signs, you'll know. But not only when you are infected this way, you open up portals for spiritual beings to take possession of you as well too. And a lot of people have demons on their back, literally like sucking the life out of them, and don't even know it. I have a few friends that can see the beings on people. Have you heard anything about that before? Well,
yeah. I've
that they're so in tune to it, they could see it. They could see the different entities. They could describe them in like complete detail.
yeah.
Walt, isn't it your sister?
Wait, you broke up. What happened?
Is
He
it
says your sister. He said.
I'm not sure the question, Zach. I need more than that.
well? We were talking about
You're
you
so
see them,
zappy and
talk
breaking
to
up.
them, somebody
No.
in your family
Right.
that has a demon.
Oh no, sister-in-law. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my sister-in-law. Yeah, Shell's sister has a little what she calls her spirit friend or helper or whatever that she
But
acquired playing with
but
the
there.
Ouija board when she was like in
Oh,
her teens, early teens, and has been with her whole life. And actually, it's this whole array of people who like come to her in like this little circular thing. They like are in a circle and they just kind of. It's almost like the beginning of a video game to me when you're choosing a character. When she chooses the one that's going to interact with her, I'm like,
well,
you know,
which
those
pairs?
aren't helping
Which
you, right? You know, those are like fucking demons. Oh, they're my helpers. I'm like, okay, enjoy that help
well,
you're getting.
which parasite's taking over the brain is really what's happening, and changing person. You're saying like changing personalities, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Now, on
absolutely.
the other hand, what you're talking about, the very thing you're talking about, there's a certain way of approaching intent. I call it the warrior's path. And in that, you can definitely achieve some things like that vision of others. And you can refine it to the point that, yeah, you can see the attachments, you can see the colors around someone, you can know what's going on with
Well, I
them
can see the
before
colors
they
around
say a
people.
word.
I
Right.
can see the colors around
It's
people, but I can't
doable.
see demons. I have never seen a demon on someone's back. You know what I mean? Like not with the naked eye.
It's a thing. It's doable. My son and I went to
But
a
is
phase
this
where we were doing a little a purpose, intent driven set of phrases that we learned that, allow you to see through some of the disguises, if you will. And so doing that at a few events, we quickly learned that that was something we couldn't do out in the world and really exist easily, because when you see a room where over half of those in attendance aren't necessarily what they appear to be, it kind of shakes you to the core. So we literally had to leave an event, a friend's wedding one time, for the in-laws that he was
well, I
marrying
mean,
into were just ridden with
You,
things.
you're just tuning into people that are heavily infected. Like
Yeah,
it's,
absolutely. And they
I
were,
see it all the time. I
and you
mean,
see it in their lifestyle.
I
You see it in
provoke
their thought
Walt. Like I go down the
processes.
street and provoke these people. I've had people like where I'm driving down the street and they're like walking down the street minding their own business, and then they sense me and they just freak out.
Oh yeah, they'll, and that's the other part of it is being aware of them. They
Well,
can
I'm a demon
easily
slayer.
become aware of you. Yes,
I'm
sir.
a
Yes,
demon
sir.
slayer. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're very scared. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
sir.
Like,
Yes, sir. I
and
feel you,
people
brother.
might think that sounds funny, but I mean that happens frequently. It's a common reaction.
It don't sound
And
funny to me, brother. I'm right there with you. I do it regularly myself. It's just
but
part
I
of it.
mean,
If you don't
I'm not
live in
even
fear
phased
and
by it
live
at all.
in,
I'm not phased by it at all because they have no power and you give them power and you're the one that's in power. And if you let them control you, control your vessel, control your life, control your eating habits, your sexual habits, getting rid of your etheric energy and all that stuff like that, then that's your problem. Like you need to take back control of yourself. And that's what's important here. A lot of people, you're the only one that could do that is you. You're responsible for you. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to do that inner work. It's very important. And you also have to do some other internal work as well, spiritually and emotionally as well.
forgiveness is a huge component of it, guys. I know that's a tough one sometimes in this world where you get attacked, not just by esoteric means, but literally your family sometimes doesn't even get you and will, cause lots of rifts, lots of pain, lots of uh, agony, and hanging on to those things is one of the easiest paths for these fuckers to grip onto your fucking energy and hold tight. So a huge chunk of it is forgiveness, to
I
me
mean,
anyway.
yeah, and you could heal the brain. That's, but you know, people forget about that. Like you could smoke cannabis. Cannabis makes new brain cells. Cannabis puts a neuroprotectant layer on your brain. Cannabis is a big help for the war in the heavens, and not just cannabis. A lot of these weeds. If you mix cannabis with mullein, you could clean mucus out of your lungs. People used to mix it with natural tobacco, cannabis, and mullein all together. But and create like I think I was telling you earlier about how nicotine blocks like the newest style of subliminal programming or whatever because it also creates new neural pathways like how cannabis does in the brain, so you could get around those blocks because they put these blocks in your mind and people can't get past it. They're like just smacking into the wall, can't get past it. But these smoking these different types of what they call weeds, um, create these new neural pathways to get around these blocks and help heal yourself. So I mean, there is a way out of the prison. There is a way out of whatever you want to call it, Miles tricks, Matrix, whatever. If you got rid of the parasite, what do you think happens next?
Right, absolutely. And I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to play catch up in chat. There's other things here.
Ask away. Let's go.
Yeah, it got away. It got away. Hang on.
So I'll oh, go ahead. Just ask. I'll
Well, no,
talk about what I
everything
want to
like
say.
everybody's busy and they're talking, and so I'm reading one, and somebody types and it scrolls down. So I'm trying to get back up. I think it was the music that everybody was speaking about, and then there was a
Well, I mean, they're attacking
specific.
all five senses, like I said. So they're attacking your ear canal. Loud music is attacking your ear canal for one. Frequency.
It's basically the whole 440 versus 432, and
I wouldn't even worry about
but there
that.
was more. Something there was about.
I think we were talking about how the like
Oh, here
the
it is.
different.
Okay, so this was interesting. This is from Jeremy. If you want to test, see if your pineal gland is clogged up, sit down and do math. If you become confused, you need to clean out. If you can do math without being confused, you're in pretty good shape. I had no clue about this, and it really might make sense in a bit, but not
Well,
really,
math,
and I don't
math,
understand.
well,
Help me here.
math is the language of the universe. So if you can't do math, you're not in tune.
So
You're
yeah,
not
okay,
connected to the
okay.
source. And most people aren't connected to the source. A lot of people want to believe they are. A lot of people want to believe that they got enlightened and they discovered certain things.
Fantastic.
And that doesn't mean you're awake. It means you're waking up, and it's okay to be in that process still. But
See, go ahead. I'm just.
I mean, there's a lot more steps to it than just like discovering these things. These are just some of the stuff that like we are interested in or we discuss is just part of the process, you know?
Yeah, I was always good at math, and I grew up on well water my whole life, pretty much.
Um,
There's a couple places I didn't have well water, but I didn't drink the water there because it just tasted
tasted
like
bad,
cold.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
even though the
it,
well water, it was I wanted water as a kid, like an idiot, because my cousin had it and it was blah, blah. But the well water, I was blessed, really. Yeah, my whole till I was 18 and I moved out, I was nothing but well water showers and stuff like that.
um I want to talk about this. I want to kind of change the subject, but keep it on the same topic. I want to talk about the Taurus field. I want to talk about.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the pineal gland again, and I
Our
want to talk.
Taurus field or the Earth Taurus field? Or both?
Well, well, there's multiple Taurus fields within us. I mean, our main one is from the heart, so we have we see it as Earth, right? But it's the heart. That's the center of it, and it projects from there. But we have a. Do you know that the pineal gland? What am I trying to say here? Um, you know that you could activate it with like different various crystals and stuff like that, like diamond and gold and blah 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 blah.
No, I had never heard anything like
No,
that.
this is new. Go. What the hell?
Yeah, people, quartz and silver and all different kinds of stuff. It's like people use those crystals to activate the pineal gland to help decalcify it, to help it get going again, to help it secrete properly again, create melatonin again. Um, so it's very important because the endocrine gland is between the left and the right hemisphere of the brain, so it's the portal between the two worlds. I mean, it's super crucial. So that's why they attack that the most. That's why it's attacked in so many levels. Uh, it's probably the seat of the soul that they call it. There's all types of names for it. I mean, all the different religions basically all say the same thing, but they all have different terms. I don't, whatever one you're more comfortable with, that's fine with me. But the interesting thing about the pineal gland is what it's made of. It is a crystalline structure. It is a crystal in your head, and like that's why it interacts with crystals. That's why you could unlock it with different crystals, and different people have different birthstones. So maybe if your birthstone was diamond or whatever, maybe that's why you would use that crystal to help unlock it. There's a lot of theories out there. I mean, I'm just giving just a little more in-depth detail about this. But I feel that we reside in the pineal gland. I think that the realm that we live in is the pineal gland, and I think it has these two crystalline type uh, things that are around us, and that's what creates that realm, and it creates energy without creating heat.
Can you see your
Oh,
screen, David?
no.
All
Am I
right. Let me.
frozen?
No. Can you see the screen when I present? I guess I should have said.
Oh, I saw it right now. Yeah, yeah.
All right. I've lost it. Damn it. Where did I just put it? Oh, come on. Really? This thing won't get them away. All right. I'll just open it again. Here we go. Have you seen this? Martin Liedke in chat. What's up, Martini and Rossi? Love you, brother. I've seen him present about it before, but I wasn't sure if you've seen the book or know anything about it. So
It's really small on my cell phone.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's a most certain and true relation of a strange monster or serpent found in the left ventricle of the heart of John Pennant, gentleman of the age 21 years, by Edward May, Doctor of Philosophy. And so I can't read all of it. It's all in the Old English, where F's are S's and S's are F's and that whole thing. So I'll drop the link to you. But yeah, I remember Martin talking about this. He may have I think he came on our show one time and discussed it. Maybe I remember
nice.
making a thumbnail with a little worm in the background. But yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. I'll
Yeah,
send it over to you.
one thing Martin has shown before is he always shows the faceless knight, and it's
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
parasite.
Yes,
So
yes.
what I see that symbol is, it's like this parasite has taken control of these beings. It's driving now, and that's what that symbol is, in my opinion, more than anything. And I think it, I, there's multiple images of that, not just the one that he's shown. I've also seen that in other places.
Oh yeah, a few places.
I've seen three different distinct images that are real similar, but I've also seen like grave sites that have like on top of your grave, it would be like spikes. So like if you try to like rise out from the dead, like the parasite took control of your body and you try to rise out of the grave, then you would get crushed by the spikes or whatever, you know. But I always find that real interesting. Like uh the moment I saw that, I was like, oh, this is definitely a symbol telling you like
Interesting. As
they
soon
take
as
control. And then
as
you have
soon
to
as
think
you
about it,
sorry.
they can't live in the sun, so they would have to be in some type of suit of armor. Vampires can't go in the sun.
No shit, no shit, no shit.
And if you want your body to be in that kind of conditions, you have to live like a vampire in the dark. You don't like the sunlight. You know, that's eventually what happens to people that have heavy parasite infections.
I'm trying to find the story real quick. As soon as you said that, I'm sorry, I'm about to
No, go on.
sneeze. Hang on. No, it won't come. Anyway, Josh and I both jumped on this story a few weeks ago, and it's been so long back now. Damn it, I'm having trouble finding the stories. But apparently there it is. In Poland recently, a grave was uncovered. Here, I'll share screen. 1 second. Too much happening. Too much. I'll share. Okay. So yeah, vampire grave found in Poland with a sickle over the neck. I'm trying to find a better picture of it. I thought we had one that was the whole. Oops. Thought we had the whole thing. Maybe that was your story.
Well, I mean, if you think of like
So there
when
you
you
go, trying to keep the parasites from bringing the body back.
right, or and them being in control of it, because then they have a super strength like a zombie does, because they're not hurt by that pain, because it's not their physical body, they're just the driver. You see what I'm
And
saying?
something about the toe. What was it about the toe? It was padlocked, or I don't remember.
I think that's right. Yeah.
We covered too much crazy shit. Give me a second.
You know, maybe that, you know, I think that's definitely a way people get infected by parasites, is they walk on them. They walk in areas where they dwell, and they attack through your feet, and they're real crazy. Like they attach themselves and they try to burrow deep into your skin and get into you through the sole of your foot.
Yeah, padlocked on the left toe.
So when you hear like in like this biblical times, like, you know, like Jesus went over there and he washed the feet of these people. Well,
Right?
he's probably washing them because of the parasites, and the parasites
And what type
that
of
are.
oil would he have anointed them with? I wonder.
I mean, I think it
Cannabis
was
oil, perhaps?
cannabosum, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Which is a Hebrew word, which is probably not the original word, because the original word would be an Arabic word, and I gave you the Arabic word for cannabis, but I completely forgot it. But I know how to write it. It's because I know how to do the backwards script or whatever.
Is that
So
what that was? I don't
that's
think
why I was
Josh
sending
was
you.
able
No,
to find a font to match that script. So, and I didn't know what it meant either.
yeah.
So, okay, cool. I'll try to find well, I'll just let me see. Hang on.
But
You talk. I'm gonna find out a way
oh,
to do
okay.
it.
No, but yeah, just going back to all these things, like that's interesting. A lot of people talk about where are all the bodies. Maybe they burn them all because they were all infected. They didn't want people. They didn't want them to rise again. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like we see these type of themes happen in movies and television shows, but I couldn't say. I'm not really a proponent of that. I'm just talking about this hypothetically. But um, I think that there's some merit to it, and there's more to it than meets the eye. A lot of times they call, like, this politician, he's a reptilian, he's this, he's that. I mean, what is a reptilian? A guy that's heavily infested by parasites, under control by a parasite. I mean, I don't know how much more reptilian that could be, but there is a few factors that we ignore here about the oldest war of this realm, which is the serpent versus the eagle. And generally no one talks about that, and if you just look at the flags, you'll see who the victor was in that one. It's just me.
It wasn't you. My cat
Uh,
stepped on my mic and muted it. I didn't. I mean, on my
I want to talk about.
keyboard mute on
I
my.
just want to mention something else about the pineal gland too. It comes from I think a Hebrew word or whatever, or I'm not sure. Whatever they want to say it comes from, but originally it comes from an Arabic word, which basically means frozen light, which I found really interesting. And then it's made from calcite crystals that interact with electromagnetic fields that originate from outside of your head, and it creates an electrical charge as well, like a piezoelectricity type of charge. So the pineal gland is creating all this energy and force and all types of stuff, and I think that definitely people are out of tune and not aligned with it. They haven't done the inner work they need to do to activate their inner light bodies, the 7 light bodies, the energy centers, the planets, whatever you want to call them. If you want to call them by your birth signs, because that's what they are. If you start understanding astrology, the giant wheel in the sky, you'll start to see that's the same stuff internally. If how things affect your mood, how things affect you just in general, even physically, and what types of you got to know your chart. You got to know. You got to read all that stuff in detail to
It's
kind
a
of
lot.
understand it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot of information, and it's a long study. And I tell you, I've been reading that stuff for 20 years, and I'm still like, what?
Just trying to play catch up, and someone over on our Rockfin channel.
All
Thank you
right,
guys for
Rockfin.
hanging out. Sarah
Who was it,
G.
Josh?
No, we've had a few actually join us there.
All right, all right,
Thank you guys. True, Andrew B's
all right,
there.
Sarah. How you doing, Sarah?
Our hang on, I'm
G
scrolling off
G is for
everybody.
ganja, right,
And
Sarah?
Adrian Quintana is hanging out over there with us. Any Word is over there. There's a few others who haven't hopped in the chat, but Sarah G earlier mentioned using turmeric paste for pineal third eye
Oh yeah,
activation. That's interesting.
turmeric. Well, you have to remember we have this
I love
endocannabinoid
turmeric.
system. We have this
It's one of
endocannabinoid
my
system,
favorites.
and this endocannabinoid system is stimulated by cannabinoids, and turmeric and pepper and cannabis
Oh
and all
yeah.
these different type of plants have the stuff that takes to stimulate this endocannabinoid system. So to help reduce inflammation in the body, turmeric, and if you think about really what it is, it's a spice and it's affecting these parasites that are in your body. And that's what reduces inflammation because they are fighting off what you're throwing at them, and they're not causing havoc inside of you. And if you combine it with pepper, it's 10,000 times, or it's like some number like
It's
10,000 times
hugely
more
more
effective. Yeah,
bioactive. Yeah. In fact, when I discovered
maybe it's
that
a
it was
thousand.
one I got that I paid a lot more for out there in Oregon, just because I had kind of limited access to some stuff, because I was just taking, whatever I got down the road here at the store for turmeric when I found out about it. But when I found this one, it had the piperine, or however you say it, actually in it. And
Right.
so I started, when I couldn't
If
find it
if you if
here,
you
I
can't
would
find
make
that, you
my
could add
own capsules with black pepper, and you take
yeah,
them
just
when I took my
organic black
turmeric.
pepper is all you need for that.
Yep. So
Organic, so
it's amazing
there's no
difference.
pesticide on it. Um,
Um, Damn it, something else about turmeric. What was it?
but
It went away.
turmeric does a lot of things, and the main thing it does is reduce inflammation, and that's crucial because that's the main underlying effect of what's going on in your system, and that's what most people are suffering from, and the body's trying to repair it and trying to do all types of things at once, but people are eating these heavy meals and busy digesting all night long. People like think they're going to rest for the night, but they ate late at night because people don't know the cycles of the body, and they're been misled and all this stuff like that. Like I told you, the cycle of the breaking the fast, like same thing. Your body's doing the most cleansing. You wake up and you go to the bathroom, you get rid of all the waste and everything that accumulated from the night before, and then you let the body cleanse on its own and let it do its own thing. But people eat these heavy meals for breakfast and they're tired. They can't wait to get to lunch to eat more. And who are you feeding, you or the parasite?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see Salted Cedar there in chat saying really interesting stuff. Little freaked out. And yeah, it definitely is a little disconcerting to find out that you're being controlled from inside by things that you weren't aware were there.
Well, I mean, it's
Definitely be careful. What's the name? My underscore screen name 007 saying, be careful if you have pets, especially if they go outside, because they can definitely
absolutely,
bring in parasites. You have to
absolutely.
definitely be careful if you have a cat or cats and you're dealing with litter cleanup. Definitely try to glove
Well,
up
yeah,
and use a
because there's
mask, because
another
there's an
there's a
actual parasite in their
yeah
feces.
yeah
There's a reason there's
Toxoplasma
crazy old
gondii,
cat ladies. Yeah.
Toxoplasma gondii,
There it is.
and
I
they're
couldn't remember the name.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
and like
And
there's
try
like a
not to dispose of your cat's feces down the toilet. If it's a habit you've gotten into, try to take that out to the trash because it gets in the water supply.
one third of Americans are infected with the Toxoplasma gondii, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
even know it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't show symptoms, and that's
Oh, that's
definitely a
another good one.
super common one because it's not just in the cat. Like the mice have it.
Right,
The
right.
cat
Oh
eats the
yeah.
mice, and then it just
Yeah,
keeps
it's a
this
whole
perpetual
process.
cycle, keeps going and
Whole
going and
cycle.
going. Then the birds eat this. They eat the guts of the dead mice or whatever, and then they get infected, and then the whatever eats the bird, the eagle, and the eagle's infected. And all the animals are infected, and the vet, I don't, whatever they call themselves, these guys, they've known this. They know this is the underlying cause to all this. This has like been written about many times. They've been having so many problems with the cattle. That's why the cattle are so weak, because they're injecting them with so many different things that are killing their immune system. And once the cow is weak, then that's when the parasites thrive. And like all the cows, they all are infected. It just spreads. Like I said, you could spread it human to human. Shaking someone's hand, as simple as that. And I'm not saying like it's gonna like crawl into your skin and you're gonna be infected. The only way you could fight it is be healthy, have a healthy immune system, and do the things that you have to do to stay healthy.
And our habits that we have definitely
Clean
help
out
with
the gut.
things like that. Here, look at this picture of my grandkid on my phone. Yeah, well, you were texting on the toilet last night. Now I got pink eye. Thanks a lot.
Big guy.
Oh, look, another good one from my underscore screen name 007. In addition to diatomaceous earth, bentonite clay. I forgot
Yeah.
about that one. Yeah, another great one. Welcome, by the way, my screen name. But glad to have new people
I go through
sharing
phases.
info.
I go through phases like you have to be doing. Not only do you do these cleanses and you do these detoxes, you have to do maintenance. You can't just not do maintenance, and it's not because of like when you're eating cleaner and you're cleaning your food properly, because you could get parasites from vegetables and stuff like that. Parasites can live on vegetables. Their eggs usually get laid on vegetables because they're safe places for them, that they're not going to get interfered with, and you definitely could ingest those, and they definitely can hatch in you.
Looks like, according to Holistic Media, a recommended channel from my screen name is Earther Academy. I went over there and checked it out and have just subbed, and the link is there in chat from Holistic Media. I will copy that and share it again because it does look like an interesting approach. Very interesting. It almost looks like there might be some almost some bioregional aspect to it with the terrain modification, and yeah, I'm really intrigued.
Absolutely,
Really
and then
intrigued.
and then just people migrating in general too, right?
Oh, dude, they've got it so fucked up. Here, everybody get in this little area, and we're gonna toxicate you. Is that a word? As much as we can in this little place. Here, crawl in these boxes.
Well,
We're gonna stack them on top of each other. We're gonna call it apartments, townhouses, but hey, we're really gonna fuck you over like chickens.
well, then they're gonna affect your core, you being centered with all these electromagnetic interference things that are happening around you, all the wires, all the. I mean, like you could not have the internet, but all your neighbors have the internet. Like I pick up like every Wi-Fi there is around me. It's ridiculous, for miles probably. But there's things you could do about it. You could paint your house with lead paint again, block all that shit out. But then you probably won't get a signal for your cell phone. That's why I'm outside, because I can't get a signal inside because of lead paint. Dead is dead air.
No, not David. As much as you've listened to us, you ought to know by now. Nobody here is running to fill up those little silences while we contemplate a comment or digging through the chat or anything. Yeah, man, we're here with you, brother. I promise.
No,
I'm actually really intrigued by this Earther Academy. Thank you.
Oh, the diatomaceous earth is great. I say I go through phases, and I just sometimes I take spoonfuls of it. Sometimes I use it in the garden a lot, couple times a season or whatever. And
be careful inhaling the dust.
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
it can mess you up.
But I got to put it in my yard. We have stray cats that come in the yard. My neighbor feeds them, so I mean, there's nothing, something I got to do to keep the fleas away and keep the ticks away and all that stuff like that. It's a very big issue, whatever. And then too, the Toxoplasma gondii, I'm always concerned about that. I really don't want them around pooping. As much as I like animals, I'm just not ready to have stray cats in my yard.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Keep your pets dewormed. I for the cats, for the Toxoplasma gondii, I don't know how they do that. I don't think they can. It's different than a dog. I think their digestive system is different or whatever.
It's something you really have to be aware of and careful with. It's something that's hard for them to deal with.
But it's also a diet. I mean, like most of these pets get infected by
the crap
leftover. The crap leftover food that they bake into a hard whatever they call a dog food. A biscuit, whatever. I'm not sure the proper term, but whatever they cook it into, that's just pure poison. That's not helping the dog at all. That's animal cruelty. Stop feeding your pets all that garbage. Stop feeding your pets those canned food, please. It's not natural. There's not real food. There's no nutrient in that for them.
And is there a better idea that you would suggest? Just wondering.
I mean,
as far as feeding pets, I mean, there's,
I mean, it depends. It depends on you. It depends on how you feel about things. I mean, I eat a raw diet, and I'm very strict on that. And at one point, I couldn't feed my dog like fake chicken wings, and you know what I mean. Like I would get these foods, and I'd open it up, and it'd be these little GMO turkey wings in there, like hot wings or whatever, And I know that's not real, and that's manufactured, and whatever else. And I just remember like knowing that she had a parasite problem, and knowing like that was the main thing was the food, and I literally just started giving her what I fed myself, and that's kind of how we linked up with the canine in the first place. I think. I mean, that's what they say in the narrative, at least, that they started following us around, and we started feeding them our leftover or whatever, you know. Um, I don't know. I mean, are we supposed to domesticate these animals? I'm not sure. I mean, do they have a purpose on this place? Are they supposed to eat all the mice and keep the balance and keep the peace? Part of me believes that, and I think that since we changed everything, that these pets got lazy. I don't know what I don't you know I don't
Oh
know how to
yeah,
say it.
yeah. I get what you're
I got
saying.
I got
Yeah.
5 cats out here begging, meowing. The mice are running by from the neighbor. They're not doing
Right,
nothing.
and now what about
And
that? They want that bowl filled, right? I've got the same thing. They're running around under my feet. In fact, when we got the cats, it was because we live way too close to the sugar mill here. And when they fire it up every season, the rats just dart in every direction and fill up all the houses in the area. So after years of fighting and giving up with it, we finally got a cat, turned into Minnie because she was pregnant. And the issues in the house abated, the chewed up bread, the etc. all went away. So we assumed they were getting the job done. But the only time we visibly saw a mouse that they had caught was when we had to leave the house for a few days due to a hurricane and went to sister-in-law's house and stayed, and they were here alone for like a whole one day, not even 2 days, just one whole 24-hour period. They were here alone. Got home, dead mouse on the floor. So just them missing one little meal time, one day of meals, they got back to their instincts and hunted out whatever was here and got something, that was it had either been left over or got back in or whatever. So yeah, it definitely is. If you want your cats to do their job, you definitely have to
well, I think we're the only
treat them
species that
accordingly.
is disconnected from our instincts and our senses and all that stuff like that. So we don't even realize what we're supposed to do. And like, there's things I learned, like someone used to argue about fasting, and I would tell people, well, why do animals fast? Like when my dog has an upset stomach because she ate something that wasn't good for her, she would fast. She wouldn't eat. I'll put food out for her. She wouldn't eat it. She wouldn't eat for days. She would just drink water, eat grass. She ate the things that she knew that aided her body to digest whatever she had eaten and get rid of it. And you know, I saw it time and time again. I mean, it's simple as that. But we're so disconnected. People don't really. Well, I'm not disconnected. I don't want to speak about any of you guys either being disconnected, but in general, the theory is that people are disconnected and just don't know what they're supposed to do naturally, and they're really confused about it and what's natural and what's not. And at the end of the day, if it's cooked, if it's a chemical process, if they have to alter it or heat it, it's not natural. If they have to add chemical to it, preservatives, citric, unnatural citric acids, and beaver butthole for flavor, you don't want it. It's not for you. It's not made for you. You could try to convince yourself that's how you're supposed to eat. It's just ridiculous. But I have that problem like in the truther community where people just can't get past that, and then they're like, oh fuck all these billionaires, and I'm like, those are the billionaires that own these big corporations that prepare 95% of your chicken, and they're poisoning you, and you're a truther about everything else, but you get mad when I say like, hey, stop eating chicken. Stop eating chicken. Chickens eat shit. Chicken's fucking garbage. There's no nutritional value in for it. Chicken is called the fowl. It's probably a hybrid bird. Your body does not know how to process it. It is not good for you. 1/3 of all chicken is infected that comes out of these factories, and one company, Cargill, owns 85% of all that factory farming, and they're billionaires, and they don't give a fuck about you. They care about the bottom line, getting your dollar, keeping you sick. Please
It's
stop eating chicken.
always about
Please
the
stop
money, my
eating
friend.
chicken. Please
Yeah.
stop eating chicken. It's not a real food. It's
It's
not a
not the
food at all.
healthier alternative, right?
Yeah, it's not a food at all. And regarding the fake meats, they're fake. Don't eat those. They had to process those. They're like soy isolate, and 99% of soy is genetically modified. So all genetically modified organisms are not natural to the environments they grow them in. So Mother Nature sends in the cleanup crew, which is the pest, and they attack them and they take them down. So they spray massive amounts of pesticides on plants like soy, coffee, are pretty much the main biggest ones, and cotton as well. Cotton is probably the biggest one. Um, and then so like you're wearing these clothes, it's cotton, it's heavily pesticide. You put it on the biggest organism of your body, which is your skin. You didn't wash that thing right, you're absorbing it, all the dyes, all the chemicals, all the whatever. I mean, people are not living natural. That's why people are disconnected. This is how they attack your senses. They attack you in every level, even with the clothes you wear. They completely changed everything. Um, I'm not saying you're supposed to be naked. It's not bad to be naked. It's great to be in the sun naked, let your body absorb the sun. Um, but sometimes you do need to be clothed, and it's just like wearing the right type of clothing, the right type of fabrics, the right type of stuff that doesn't have chemical on it as much as you possibly can get, which I know can be difficult, but it is possible. What do you think about that, Walt?
I'm all about it, man. I'm reading all kind of stuff there in chat, different ideas. Just people
I
have
like the
got
ideas.
a
I like being in the
hand on
chat.
it.
I like
They
being in the
have a
chat.
hand on it, man. There's so much good stuff in here. Coconut oils, grass fed cow butter. If you're gonna do back milk stuff, I mean, there's debate there as well whether milk is something we should or shouldn't consume. But man, what was I about to ask you? Damn it. It's gone. Shit. I don't know. It's gone. I'm reading too much here. Hell, we're approaching that little time frame, I think. Have we not talked about something that you wanted to get to tonight, David?
Neodymium magnets. Neo, like
Ah,
Neo from the
right,
Matrix.
right. Okay. I know a guy
Neodymium.
or two that
Neodymium.
likes magnets. Go ahead, sir. What you got to say about it?
Oh no, I'm just saying. Uh, I wanted to talk about copper. I mean, I want to talk about so many subjects. Gold being clean. No, I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know. We could talk about whatever. I mean, if this is that time, we should go. But um, you guys need to clean the body out and start the ascension process, and you need to activate your light centers, and you need to do the hard work. It just really comes down to that, and you got to transmute all that negativity, and that's how you form the lotus brain. And after you activate all the seven chakras, you transmute the zodiac wheel and all the negative aspects of it, and you form the lotus brain, and then that will allow energy to flow through your body properly. And that's one of the steps that you have to take to heal, that you have to take for a real awakening. I know a lot of you want to feel that you're awake and stuff like that. I'm not here to insult you in any way. I'm sure you are. I believe you are as much as you believe it. You probably are, but there's a lot more levels to this, and I think there's a lot more steps. And don't get stuck in these patterns. Don't get stuck in these loops. Don't get stuck in the same old discussion over and over again. And the same, you know, the conclusion. It gets boring. Like if we already made this assumption that the realm is a flat inertia plane, then I don't even want to talk about it anymore. No offense to anybody. It's a great subject for those out there that haven't learned about it and you're new to it. There's a lot of good information out there, and there's a lot of good communities out there that you could look into, out there that you could become part of. Um, I don't know. I don't really got anything else. Smoke more weed. Uh, Stimulate your endocannabinoid system. Heal the vessel. Heal the temple. It's the temple. The creator lives within you. You live within the creator. The creator is consciousness. Creator is water. So put pure water in you. Clean water. Do not pollute the temple with horrible water. That's really key. You're made up of this water. Your body's made up of it. It needs to be structured water, and you get that from eating fruit. You don't get that from eating animals. Animals turn into mucus, slime. Blah. You don't need that. You need fruit. Fruit is what hydrates you. Fruit is what nourishes you. Fruit has DNA instruction for your body. Don't take uh, all that anxiety that those animals that live in those factories and the disease they were going through that they just cut around, and all the energy that they had to go through and all the torture they went through, and put that into your system, because their DNA becomes your DNA and their fears become your fears. And that's one of the ways they keep you trapped in these lower vibrations. And I hope that you guys wake up and see that and get on a higher frequency and get away from that. And that's, that's the chakra work. That's where it all starts, in that lower vibration, that lower chakra, uh, sacral chakra or whatever. That's where it all starts. That's where all that negativity and all that stuff is. And you gotta activate that and break through it and keep going up through your solar plex into the heart, into the throat, into the brain.
I second that motion, my friend, and all of the above. Well,
And
David, thank you for sharing,
and
sir.
live in the present. Every day is a new opportunity to reinvent yourself and change everything. Don't take it for granted anymore. It's never too late. One day at a time.
Keep coming back because it works if you work it. So work it because it works.
I don't mean like that. I'm just saying, like, one day at a time. Like, if you're fasting, just take it one day at a time. If you're changing your diet, just focus on today.
Like you
Focus
said,
on
baby
now.
steps. Don't
Focus
jump
on
on the
now.
turpentine tomorrow.
And
Yeah, don't worry about yesterday or the future. Worry about right now.
That's right. And you can't take the escalator. You got to use the steps.
Yeah,
You can't skip steps.
It's a long journey.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for your birthday, Josh?
Oh, nothing.
You've already done it?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. That was a dinner, an unexpected dinner. That was enough. I don't call my mom. That's what I'm going to do on my birthday because she's the one that did all the work.
Mm.
You ever go to a playground and watch the kids go up the steps and slide down the slide? Whee! And they go up the steps and they slide down the slide. Whee! All they got to do is sit on their butt and go whee down the slide. Not a big deal. Yeah. I went whee right out the uterus. Not a big deal. She did all the work. She had to dilate. She had to push. She didn't use drugs. I'm going to call my mom on my birthday. That's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
See if she remembers who I am.
What you got coming up, David? Anything anywhere else? I know you were hitting it hard there for a little while. You got something else coming up soon?
I was working on some stuff. I've been working on some really complex stuff, like where I looked at all these areas where they've been tagging parasites because they're barcoding all these parasites in nature. And I've been following that, and I've been following the regions and the different types of parasites and cataloging them. A lot of it's catalog, but making my own type of database that is looking at something different than what they're looking at. And generally what I'm looking at is from these regional areas where you have these different parasites, what are the regional plants that are anti-parasitical and antimicrobial and whatever else. And I think that's very important information for people to have, because since we all live in different zoological areas of this plane, we require different things, different minerals and different whatever, because maybe the sun takes more away from the people that are closer to it or less, or, yada, yada, yada. Anyhow, just that, like that stuff, like putting all that together and, like working on a bunch of plant alchemy type of stuff and a bunch of different I don't know what words to use here, but stuff to help yourself start the healing process, and trying to make it easier for people to figure out. um I mean, soon is going to be in the medical industry. They're going to scan you with a barcode scanner, and they're going to tell you exactly what parasite you have, and they're going to have its barcode, and they're going to know exactly which one it is, and they're going to identify them by name. So they don't only are not their goal is not only to scan the different species of them, it's to catalog every single one of them, and I think that everything and everyone is being cataloged at the same time.
So it's called the Global Genome Initiative. The Global Genome Initiative is a collaborative science based endeavor to collect Earth's genomic biodiversity, preserve it in the world's biorepositories, and make it available to researchers everywhere. The Global Genome Initiative aims to capture half of the world's genomic diversity by
And
2022.
guess what? You could use their apps for some of these people, because there's multiple different people like Canada and different people that have their own individual research, but they do all have like the international one, like you're talking about the global one, whatever. I don't want to use that word, but the conglomerate, whatever you call it. They have these apps that you could use on the phone to help them with this process or like study and whatever. So like, it's just, to me, it's just like, oh wow, you just gave me all this information that I've been looking for that was not available before. And so that's what's really interesting about the internet. So there's good uses, there's a balance to it, there's a balance to everything. You just have to find it and stay centered, you know.
Find it out where your great grandmother came to America. Find out where your ancestors were from. Find out what your true DNA is. With 23andMe, sign up now. We'll send you a kit. You shove it up your face and send it back, and we'll tell you all the genetic information you'd love to share with us.
Well, that's what they did in cannabis. They got all the people to test the DNA of the plants, but instead they just collected all the data. So now when they make their CRISPR technology genetically modified plants, which are out there and in full effect, they basically just take all the best of these plants and get rid of all the bad stuff, and they mix the code up and they put it back together again, and they make these plants that are like pest resistant and whatever else, but they're these genetically modified mutants again. I think they're doing the same thing with all the different parasites. And if I remember correctly, there was people used to talk about them taking two different parasites and splicing them together, which I would say maybe they bred them together. I don't know about splicing. I don't know how that would work for a parasite, but that became one of the parasites that's like a known disease. I can't think of what it is, but all right.
That seems familiar.
Yeah, that's really familiar. I just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Keep smoking cannabis. Coat the lungs.
Man.
Smoke some Mullen with your cannabis. Smoke some get some natural nicotine. There's a bunch of plants that you could just forage for that you could smoke. Mullen's in abundance everywhere, all across this part of the world, the hemispheres or whatever
Is it
you want to call it.
colt's foot that's also good for your lungs?
There's a
Colt's foot.
few that are all in the
Okay.
same family, and
I
there's a
think
few
it's in
plants.
that same mullen.
Yeah,
family.
and sometimes there are plants that just grow. I think I was talking about this about cannabis. Like the same plant grows different based on the region that it's in, because like we have the middle of America snows all the time. It doesn't snow on over here in the West Coast, or wherever that's at, or whatever coast they're telling us we're on. South, I think.
So yeah, of course, when I go look it up to verify it, colt's foot is a plant leaf used to make medicine despite serious safety concerns, which means this must be a big pharma list that I've gone to. People take it for lung problems such as bronchitis, asthma, and pertussis, whooping cough. So yeah, colt's foot. Heard about it. Go look into it. Definitely haven't actually used it myself, but I believe it grows pretty easily. It's like a yellow flower, if I remember right. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, a lot of the ones that that they call weeds, like you'd be surprised if you just figure out what they are.
that's why they called it that. That's why it was demonized.
And you
Keep
could
you
tell
from
that,
accessing it.
and you could tell like some of them that are real nutritional when you see the different types of bugs, the different type of parasites that are attacking it. That's when
Right.
you're like, oh, that thing's full of nutrition. Like I need that, And people don't realize that we have this this need for these plants. It's our bodies require these plants, and we don't give ourselves enough of them, and that's why people are not healing. And there's so many plants you could use to heal. And I hate to say, like, hey, use the mullein plant. Mullei's not the only one. There's a bunch of plants in that family, like I said, that express different in different parts of the world. Find the one that's in your local area. That's the one that you probably need the most. Source as much as local stuff as possible. Forage for as much stuff as possible. It's available. Like, we have desert dandelions out here, you know.
Yeah, and they've got people so brainwashed into calling these things weeds. That's the
Yeah, it's
only
so ridiculous.
word. That's the only four-letter word I don't like to utter.
Well,
You
they
know?
demonize the plants, and that's what that's part of the psychological trick that they played on you to get you to want to eat that box food and think that that's fresh, good when the clown gives it to you. Like, I mean, the guy was a clown. You took the food from a clown. That doesn't sound right. I don't know. It just
Well,
doesn't
yeah,
make sense.
everybody to grow grass, something that human beings cannot eat.
Yeah, something that we can't eat. That we can't.
Yeah.
We have no
Cover
nutritional value
everything
for
in
it.
that, and we will modify it so you can spray it with all this poison, so it won't kill the grass, but it'll kill every other plant in the yard. You know, it's horrible. It's totally backwards. Yeah, my neighbor, he can't believe it that I don't want grass in the yard. It's like, I can't believe you do when you really think about it. And I told him,
Only the rich people used to grow grass because they were so rich they didn't have to farm. They didn't have to farm to live to survive. They were just had money, so it to be obnoxious.
yeah, it's silly. So they could play polo and golf and
Right? It's
all
just
that.
mocking. They're just mocking the poor. You know what I mean? They're mocking the people that work for it. They're instead of like helping them out, they're profiting off people in general. What we were talking about the Cargyle group earlier, the people that just took over. I don't know what chicken farm they're trying to buy right now, but they're going to give them like $5 billion for it or something like that, and they're going to become the 85% whatever. Those people also control the commodities and all that stuff, and there's no such thing as insider trading for them and stuff like that. And so they can basically control the pricing, control everything about it. It's so ridiculous when you really look into it. And when I say, like, if you're a truther, you shouldn't support that. You should, if you want to keep eating chicken, you should find it from some local farmer if possible. If not, don't eat it. Stop supporting these fucking people too, though. It's ridiculous. Like, if you just read about these people, you'd be disgusted. They're disgusting people. They're the ones that control all these other people. They're the ones that are the ones that have all the money. You know what I mean? It's disgusting. I mean, they're feeding you death. They're feeding you roadkill.
They are indeed, sir. They
No
are
nutritional value in that.
indeed.
In the fowl.
I mean, it ought to tell you that if you leave it in the fridge too long, it smells like something died in there. It's because it's fucking dead.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. No, I know. It's pretty interesting though, like how people just don't care. They know the atrocities that happen. They know that chickens just eat shit off the ground. They're just in one big factory, just eating like GMO grain and shit. Their immune system's weak, so they're infected with parasites. They're just not. They're getting injected with all types of different stuff. And I know a lot of you are addicted to that stuff, but you could kick all that stuff. It's very possible, real easy in days. You could flush that stuff out of your body with just good, clean, distilled water. It's very important that you use distilled water when detoxing. That's what's going to really flush all the negative, bad stuff out. So good for you.
And keep it from going crazy when your belly's rubbing together and you think, geez, there's nothing in there.
After a while, it doesn't even matter to me. Like, there's times I don't eat for like 7 days, and I'm just like, oh shit, like I haven't ate for like 6 days. I might as well just go 7. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. Like I said, you get more energy not eating. you're just digesting all night. You wake up hungry because you worked all night. Your body never got a rest.
That's interesting as all shit. I really appreciate you coming on to hang out.
Yeah. Any other chat comments before we get out of here and wrap this thing up?
I think it's a whole bunch of agreements.
Agreements and ideas. Like I see a different, a lot of people talking about coconut oil, which is amazing. Tea tree oil. Oh, somebody earlier talked about spraying tea tree oil on their pets' feet before taking them out walking to prevent things from
Yeah.
getting on. Interesting. I never thought of that.
Yeah,
I might.
you could put sulfur crystals in your shoes too, like we were talking about the feet earlier. And that's generally where you get the most parasites, just like from walking around and stuff like that. Is you get it through your feet. You get it walking around barefoot. So that's definitely a way to go. You could put coconut oil on the feet too. There's a lot of stuff you could put on the feet. Tea tree oil is great. All those ones, like peppermint, all that stuff. Whatever you got, honestly. Like I look for stuff like what's antimicrobial and what's antibacterial, and you find out what's anti-parasitical, and you find out all those terms mean the same thing. And at the end of the day, like you probably need it.
Right. Let me think. Tell everybody
What
where to
about?
find you, sir.
Oh, I don't want to be found.
All right. Well, don't tell
Trained to be
nobody
a
where to
ghost.
fucking
Word.
find
No.
you.
I'm doing, like I said, I'm working on something for the Syncretism Society, but I'm not sure. Some things have changed over there, so I'm not sure like what route is going to go. It might completely change into something else, so I'm just going to let that unfold as it will. But I'm definitely going to do something with them again, and coming up shortly soon in the next month or so. It's on my schedule. I'm the one that needs to schedule it, but I'm waiting to go out of the country and come back. And so anyhow, I have that, and then I'm working on 2 different video projects right now that, like I said, that are related to some of these topics that we were talking about earlier, like parasite identification and the barcode scanning of them, and then soon being able to just scan you and find out what's wrong with you based upon what type of infection you have. And just stuff like that. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more interesting information because they are putting genetically modified barcodes, which they do after they get approved by the FDA, into foods now, and now that's becoming part of your body, and that's the genetic. I mean, maybe that's your DNA code. These barcodes. I mean, I don't know, but there's definitely a big insurgence of barcodes everywhere I look these days. Everyone's advertising their channels and their products and stuff they got for sale with these codes everywhere, and there's definitely a lot more to it than
The
meets the
QR
eye.
codes too, not just the barcodes.
Well, yeah, yeah, specifically like now everyone's bombarding everyone with the QR code. I mean, it's everywhere. Like you turn in a video, the beginning of the video is QR code. Like, dude, well,
I played a
I'm watching
video
the fucking video
game.
from my phone. How the fuck am I going to scan that? Come on,
Right. I was
stop
playing a
putting it in the
video
front of the
game
video.
on my phone, and there was a QR code in the game for me to
How,
scan it. I'm like, you guys
how are you going to
realize
scan it?
what I'm doing here, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm gonna take a screenshot and then go into the app or something. Like, I'm not doing all that. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. But is that opening a portal? Is that what is that doing, and what is that doing to your mind? And is that a sigil as well? Is that a new type of sigil that you don't know? Is that a language that you don't understand but the subliminal understands? I
Carrie
mean, there's
Willie in chat. It's the my code.
yeah, but it is interesting that they're going to be able to classify all these different parasites as these barcodes and then scan them and find them inside of you. And I mean, they know about this stuff. They've known about it for a long time. The research is there. You could look around. I mean, none of this is hidden. And there's plenty of like all different types of people from all different types of accredited places that are telling you the truth, not hiding it, and it's out there. But yeah, I'm doing a little bit of that, and I don't know.
Well,
I'm not really.
pop in anytime here on our channel on the morning show there on Ironworx on TFR.
I just
Anytime you
have
got
a
something
hard.
going on, let
I
us
just get
know and we'll let everybody know.
I just
Oh, I'm
get stuck
sorry.
in. I just get stuck in these things like where I'm like researching something to talk about in a show, and I just like I come on a show like this, and I'm like, don't talk about this, don't talk about that. Like you're saving this for this, and you're saying, and I'm like, fuck. But I gotta mention this because this is like the key puzzle piece that connects it all together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does make it hard.
And it's like there's just so much information, and it's just there's so much like so many things that you got to do, and work that you got to do, and steps you got to take to clean the temple and clear the temple of these demons and take control back of yourself and find your inner powers and harness those and transmute all the negative energy. And if everyone could do that, this place would be a fantastic place, I think, for lack of a better word.
That's a pretty good word. It's a
good word.
fantastic word.
Well, are you a fan though? I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan. You know what I mean? Fantastic. Is that a programming word to make you think being a fan of somebody is okay?
I would think it's okay to be a fanatic of a better world. Be fanatical about making the world better is not a bad thing. I don't.
Well, we are these reality generators, and if you're heavily infected, and if everyone's heavily infected, then we get this world that we see outside of us right now, and that's really important to realize. Like the main reason I try to tell people to cleanse and how go through the steps and do the things they got to do is so when they are projecting, like they don't have all that negative thought, they don't have those voices in their head, they don't have that schizophrenia anymore. They don't have once you expel these demons, you could get rid of all that. Like you could heal yourself of this, and you could then think for yourself, and then you could then create a better world. And this is why this is so important, and more important than fighting about what's what and what's this and what's that. Like we all need to heal first. That's the first and foremost, and then we could worry about all the other stuff. But to each their own. And if you guys want to focus all your energy on saying that this guy's wrong, everyone's got some truth. Just tune into what truths they have and just digest the rest of it. Like get rid of the rest of it. You don't need that. You know what I'm saying? No more petty arguments. No more,
That's right.
No more like, hey, this guy's an idiot. He believes in the Titans. Well, there's all kinds of stories that can back them up. You know what I mean? Like it's not too far fetched.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, just you got to look for that light in everybody.
Truth.
Well, before we get out of here and before I forget, I did double check everybody, and it will not be on James True's main channel tomorrow night. I will be live with James True and company over on their new channel called High Magic. I dropped a link there in chat. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. It'll be 8 p.m. Central.
What are you guys talking about?
We're going to pretty much shoot the shit. James and I have not caught up in quite a while, so I'm sure it'll be a lot of me catching him up on my end of things and me catching up on his end of things.
Oh, nice.
Kind of just another brother from another mother.
Is that Grounded Extract you're talking about?
No, James True. He's an author.
True. Okay.
He's been on here quite a few times.
I didn't catch the last name.
But yeah, definitely going to go over there and see what he's up to. And if you're not doing much tomorrow evening around 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, so check it out. I dropped the link. I've dropped it over on Rockfin as well. I'll probably put it in the few different chats just because I assumed it was on James's main channel when I told people about it this morning, and on I think Tuesday when I mentioned it, I assumed that's where it was, and then I found out today it's not. It is on a different channel. So I'll drop that probably on our Telegram chat and in our Twitter group and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, thank you again, and thank you for hanging out with us this morning. For damn sure.
Yeah, I was all over the place. I hope
No,
there's
dude, that's you, dude. If
some
you don't, like
coherency
I said,
to
if
it.
you're
You
not
know?
familiar with the Iron Realm, we tend to get a little sidetracked ourselves because it's exciting when you get excited about something and take off on a tangent. So
Yeah,
it gets
I have
boring
so much
staying down
energy.
one
I've been up
area.
for days. I have so much energy. I just been up for days. I'm just like kind of like winding down from a few days of just a lot of working and exercising and doing all the things we talked about, and spending time outside looking at the sun in the morning, at night, making it a duty.
At least 2 or 3 of them a
Absolutely.
day.
Absolutely. 15 minutes a day is all you need.
At least. Sometimes I
No,
get.
I mean,
Sometimes
some
I
people
can.
need more.
Sometimes I can like get in, make a duty, wash my hands, and get out in less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And that's like 2 or 3 times a day. That's pretty regular.
That's pretty regular. So like you might be ready for some Georgia pine.
Something.
I mean, one more thing I want to say about that, just the sugar cube, people use that as bait.
Interesting.
Once you put it on your tongue, they know it's in the system, and so they're scared of it, and they hide and they move to other locations. So the sugar cube is definitely a good bait trick. Just I forgot to mention that earlier.
Or
It just
Right,
reminded me.
that's part of that whole. Yeah, I remember that part of it.
I
Yeah.
remember.
And I'm not the author of this information. Like Jen Daniels put a lot of information out about this a long time ago. So it's just one of the things that I used and tried and had success with. I haven't used it for a while though.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Well, we look forward to what you got coming up recently. Coming up soon.
Before we go, let's just hear about your plant. So like you trim the ounce down. Like how's it looking? What's going on?
It's a little larfy, little light, little airy for what I was hoping for it to be. Lost quite a bit of weight in the drying process, more than I thought I would.
It's always like that.
As beautiful as the plant was, the bud structure wasn't there. It just ended up being a bunch of little popcorn buds, not any big, nice main cola. Some were like bigger than the rest, but not really anything big. Beautiful plant, but the bud structure wasn't really there.
Do you give the plant any like Fulvix or anything like that?
I don't. I'm still running salts in there, and so yeah.
Yeah, some plants just don't react good to salts, but some plants react great to it. I mean, it's like you have to think about it. Like we're stressing the plants out, and that's how we're getting these like crazy amounts of THCs. It's just like all the stress that we're causing to it, or like pest pressure on the plant makes the plant create more THC or these terpenes to fight those pests off if they're just in the area. So sometimes you kind of want pests being around your garden, like the threat of it, so the plant's on its toes.
And that's really interesting. I've always had this turpentine in the back of my brain and into wanting to just try a little schedule of turpentine and see what it does. And this idea that again, it's just pine.
It could be
it's terpenes from pine. It's pine terpenes.
It could still be a little hard on your liver too, because there's like you have liver flukes and stuff like that. So that's why it's very important to do it like 3 days on or like 4 days on, 3 days off, or whatever the schedule is. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I know it's something like that. Basically, like you got to let the liver rest, and you got to like flush the liver out like during this process to aid it to get rid of like flukes and stuff that might be in your liver, that will start attacking you the moment that you start attacking them. It's a war. The war, it's the war of the heavens. I mean, that's what they're talking about in all these biblical stories. If you go back and reread them, you'll realize they're talking about this invasion, and it's an invasion for your mind.
And while I'm not quite ready necessarily to try the pine terpene, the terpene pine terpene. Good. Pine terpene is what I think is the best way to pronounce it. We can call it turpentine if you want, but it's just pine terpene. I'm going to stick with the cannabis terpene because, well, I've got it handy. But just to finish up that last thought, I'm chopping tomorrow again. My other plant, those buds are considerably more massive. Terpentines, pine terpene. But those buds are big. They're nice size. They're the main cola is probably about the size of a.
That's the Versace.
No, this is just a random bag seed. The Versace I
Oh
still
yeah,
have in veg. I've still got a
a
plant.
random gift from the gods.
Uh huh. And I knew it was decent flour because it was in a bag seed that I had in hand. So I just, well, I didn't. The wife did. She just popped a couple of them to see what would happen. So I just ran with it to see what would happen. And they seem to react pretty well to the salts. They've taken up quite nicely. The stretch was ridiculous. So the plants are almost probably 7 foot tall downstairs in my basement in my little light.
What
So
kind of lights you got?
just board LEDs. I'm
Get
running.
yourself a HPS and get a light mover and let it go back and forth across. You could cover a lot of area that way. And you could just get one. You just need one. Get one that you could do at least 800 watts. That will change everything for you.
And see, I've heard that even the last 2 or
Your
3
density,
weeks,
everything.
those last 2 or 3 weeks of the flower would be really good. I don't know that I could justify to the wife and to the power company running HPS this whole time or metal halide the whole
HPS though.
time.
Let's be realistic about some of your other appliances that you run in your house. Like one HPS light probably cost me about $75 each a month. So if you have one in a light mover, it's $75 to get a bigger yield to save you money to, and then also have the ability to control your own medicine and find what works best for you and grow it yourself so you know what's in it and put what you put into it is what you get out of it. What you reap, you sow. So part of it, that process is making that medicine for yourself and your internal is that involvement.
Yeah, and I can totally appreciate it. I mean, but even the HPS and a light mover is not going to be necessarily cheap up front.
They're like $80 or something like that. They're not expensive. They're really inexpensive. Like,
Huh.
it. I don't know. I don't have one. I had a friend that had one, and he had great success from it. And he put a 1,000 watt HPS over it, and he ran a whole bunch of plants, and he had great success. It allowed him go from like growing one plant in like 3 plants in 5 months or whatever the cycle is, or 6 months, like if you're growing it from seed sometimes, to being able to grow a bunch of plants and get a real big yield and have enough medicine for the whole year and grow once a year. So I
And
mean, you have to think of it that way too. Like if the cycle is only 4 months and it's $75 times 4 months, then you're not growing for the rest of the year. Then divide it that way. Like, well, what's the total cost for the year? If it's $300 divided by 12, what does it really cost me? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And like when you get through that process where you're at, where you waited 8, 9, 10 weeks, whatever you waited in flower, and then you're like, oh, these flowers are larvae. That's such a disappointment. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's genetics, but other times it's like, man, wasted spot in the garden.
it's still only slightly disappointing. I'm still like 80%
No, you got to be grateful.
appointed because that's still mine, and I can't knock that shit.
No, you got to be grateful for it too. And then also too, like I said, you put good energy into it, so that's what you're going to get out of it. It's an energy exchange. It's an even exchange.
And I'm looking forward to see how this next plant dries up and how those
And
buds look afterwards because
and
they're pretty
cannabis puts
massive.
you. And cannabis also helps. This is the one thing that people forget is cannabis is the endocannabinoid system regulates the glands like the pineal gland and all those other glands. And cannabis has the most cannabinoids to stimulate this. And if you want to secrete more melatonin or the milk and the honey and all stuff like that, like cannabis is essential to your diet. To ingest it, eat it, smoke it, everything. Cannabis is the best, king of all plants.
King of all plants.
all plants, the most terpenes, the most cannabinoids, what the body needs for healing, all types of medicine, all types of resources. We could change this whole oil-based economy with the hemp plant and make better natural products that are natural to the environment. It's just incredible how backwards people decided to do things.
It really is, isn't it?
But we know now, we live in the present, so we make these changes now, and that's what affects the future. So no big deal.
Well, thanks again, David, for coming to hang out. I guess it's time to wrap this shit up and roll
What about
on
Zach?
out of here.
Did we talk to Zach?
Oh, I'm sure he's floating around somewhere.
Yeah,
He's passed out
under
asleep.
the weather, probably still recuperating from the.
Does Zach have anything coming up?
Or he's babbling, talking on, not realizing he's muted. Hard to say which.
Zach's always got something coming up.
Oh, that's right. We can't understand a word he fucking says when he talks. That's why.
Does Zach have anything coming up? Any appearances?
Just flat over. That's really got some other things in the works in the background, but we don't have anything nailed down.
Yep, and then I will be on with Mike over there on Truthers Hour of Comedy. Not this weekend, but next Saturday.
Oh, that's right. I did see that and forgot. Yes, sir. I'm pumped up.
What's the topic on that one?
You know, I don't know. I think it's just sort of a
freestyle.
He's got he's got guests that come on every week that he's going to be bringing on with. So I'm still anxious to see who else is going to be there next week. And I think from there, the topic blooms.
Oh, okay.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. Not exactly sure. It's always fun to find out. It's always nice being.
No, I'm just always curious. Like, THC. I just always think is there going to be some cannabis involved?
Generally, I mean, I'll be there, so you can be sure, at least on my end, there will be cannabis involved.
Nice.
It just seems to be a big part of my diet. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll be right back here next week, more than likely. More likely than not.
Same bad time.
Same bat channel. Subscribe if you're not. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Walter, Zach, thanks so much, fellas. I will be.
Thank you, Josh, for coming home early and doing the extra to get things looking pretty. Oh, I forgot, by the way, that background is Josh and David's fault. Somebody mentioned the gory background or the gross background. I can't remember, but yeah, it was a bit moist. That was intense meniscus. Anyway. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Be good. Be well. We love you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Dig it.
I smoke herb before I go to work. I smoke herb before I go to church. I got a feeling high, just like the ceiling, higher than I've ever been. This time I mean it. Call Guinness Records, cause I'm about to beat it. Never in the history of any human being have you seen it. Verified, I never cheated. You can try, but you'll be defeated. My eyes are bleeding. Get the paper, check the news, and you can read it. Did you eat it? I smoke herb before I go to work. I smoke herb before I go to church. Amen. I need herb before I go berserk. I need some